This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 540 for the week of October 8th, 2018. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Alex.
And on today's show, we have almost everyone with us today. First, we have a very special guest translator for One Piece in Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Stephen Paul. How's it going, Stephen?
Hey, it's going pretty good.
We have our resident official artist for the One Piece Podcast. We have Maddie joining us on the air, speaking more than usual. How's it going, Maddie?
Good.
We have our anime recap host, as well as as a writer for Anime News Network. Do you want to remind us of all the columns you're doing, Sam Leach?
Well, right now, it's just One Piece and Black Clover, because My Hero wrapped up.
We also have with us Eisner Award-nominated author for Merman. We have Joey Weiser joining us after a little hiatus. It's nice to have you back, Joey.
Yeah, hey guys, it does feel like it's been a while.
And if this amount of people doesn't confuse you, we also have a very special guest joining us 2 weeks in a row. I'm very happy to announce we have Greg Werner back with us. How's it going, Greg?
Very well. Happy to be here.
Yeah, how's everything going over there?
It's going all right. It's there's no hurricane or earthquake or flood or rain today. It's amazing. I can't believe it.
Has everything been okay there? Have you guys made it through? I know you had like 2 typhoons and at least one big earthquake over there.
I think we had the third one last 2 days ago.
Jesus.
Yeah, and yeah, earthquakes, and I actually had one just here in Fukui the other day. It was great. It was like a 3 or something. It was good. Haven't felt that in a while. So.
You guys are usually shielded from that, right?
Not where we used to live in Fukui.
Okay.
We're but,
out in the elements.
So life is good. We don't have many disasters, but I mean, in One Piece this week there were some disasters.
Oh, good
transition.
transition.
Was that last week?
No,
is that last week?
No, that's this week.
Okay, all right.
Don't worry, your joke works. So we have a manga recap of chapter 920, which I totally did not misread as For the Love of Oda. It's For the Love of Odin. We also have our anime recap, a double one, Sam. What is that for?
That was for episodes 855 and 856.
Yeah, and we also have the once a year new opening for One Piece, so maybe we'll talk a little bit about that this week. I think some people would like to hear our
we could talk about it, but it'll just be the same line repeated over and over again.
Okay, good one. We also will have Piece Together, of course, a little bit of trivia. But before we get into that, next week, the manga is off, and we have a lot of cool stuff for you, including our recap of Volume 90, which we did with Steven, of course. A lot of cool stuff to look forward to there. We also have our Dressrosa read-through, which should be coming, God willing, next week. And that's going to be brand new take on the first half of Dressrosa, which we have been charging through. And I think it's a really interesting discussion. And of course, it took way longer than I thought it would take for us to go.
I'm up to volume 78 now, or most of the way through volume 78. But the hardest part to read was the part from the birdcage until Law's flashback.
Yeah,
that was, whoo boy.
Yeah, I remember
that.
We'll talk about that. That one you'll hear in a few weeks.
I do not envy you, gentlemen. I do not envy you. You have been doing a great service to the One Piece community. Thanks for taking one.
We're much nicer to the first half of Dressrosa, I think.
I still like Alex's analogy, which you'll hear when we talk about Dressrosa next week. And we'll also hopefully have Dennis and Kelly's account of their trip to Japan. That should be next week as well. But before we get started, we have our new segment, Vivre card update. What do we have coming? Steven, you were talking a little bit about it. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, well, I think the timing was fortunate because it feels like everybody who ordered it from Amazon Japan got their cards today, pretty much.
Yep.
At least everybody on the the One Piece podcast Twitter. And so these out today for the October Vivre card booster packs. We have the East Blue pack and the Supernovas pack, and these include, here we go, East Blue, imaginary drum roll. Please don't do an actual drum roll. We have pre-time skip Usopp, the Usopp Pirates, Kuro, Kaya, Django, Shambuchi, pre-time skip Sanji, Zeph, Patty, Gin, Carne, Krieg, Dracula Mihawk, Pearl, and extra East Blue characters volume 2. So that's another little bonus card.
So,
and
no Mary? Mary doesn't get his own card? God.
Not in this one.
God.
And in the Supernovas pack, you will get Kami, Papug, Duval, Shakuyaku, aka Shaki, Capone Bedge, Joey Bonnie, Basil Hawkins, Eustace Kidd, Scratchman Apu, DS Drake, Arouge, Killer, Trafalgar Law, Beppo, Silvers Rayleigh, and extra characters from the Paramount War Volume 1. So that's pretty much like a Savandi rundown.
And no Penguin and Shachi. What are they doing out there? Jeez.
Well, they might share a card, you know?
Why? They're two incredibly important characters to this show. And my favorite members of the Heart Pirates. I don't care what anyone says.
No, hang on. Penguin and Shachi are on the Paramount War extra characters card. So they share space with other favorites like Peterman and
well, that's an insult.
And what's his name? Salu, the little pug who pees on.
Okay, that one is important. I do like that one. That's the Celestial Dragon pug, right?
Yeah.
That's like the insult to injury pug. That's what they should go around calling it. Cool. So we'll do more Vivre card booster pack updates as they come out. To see if you want to get that specific booster pack. You could get all this at Amazon Japan, which is like the easiest service. I love it.
Steven, I think next month is going to be the Arlong Pirates and Impel Down booster packs.
I believe you are correct about Arlong Pirates and yes, Impel Down versus Guards versus Prisoners. So. Sounds like those would be our 2 arcs for November.
All right. So I think that I want to mention again for those who are looking to pre-order it or get it at their local import store. One Piece Magazine Volume 4 comes out October 19th. We mentioned this last week. Please go and pick it up if you haven't. They're always worth the purchase price, I think, even if you don't speak Japanese. Plus, I am sure we will go over it here in the near to not too distant future.
You can also pre-order it on amazon.co.jp as of now.
Okay, there you go.
Yep.
And one final little thing. The Nami and Luffy's voice actresses, Lucy Christian and Colleen Clinkenbeard, respectively, were both at New York Comic Con this past weekend and at a special One Piece cafe. If you were there, please let us know. I know some of our fans were able to make it, so that's cool. It seems like it was a hit, and it looked like Colleen and Lucy had a lot of fun. They spoke a little bit about their characters. The one clip I saw, comparing it to a sort of, slapstick for your voice. So check that out if you haven't. I'm sure Funimation will have some more stuff from that. But I think that's going to be everything. You guys ready to get into the manga recap for this week?
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Let's go back to the past through the manga.
To the future!
This is the manga recap for chapter 920, For the Love of Odin. I assume that's how that's pronounced. What's going on the front page here? How's the misadventures of
Orlumbus
going? Yeah.
I do like the title, yeah. Odin. Anyway. Nobody? Okay.
I'm sorry, I have a lot of PTSD with that song now.
Oh, that's right. Oh, fuck. All right, let's forget about that.
Go ahead.
All right, so we're back to requests now. So we got request: Zoro and Sanji fight even in their dreams by Goemon from Nara. So
I've never been more happy to see Sanji bleeding from his nose as I am today.
Bleeds from his nose. Although, I guess they're fighting in their dreams and in real life. This is sleep fighting. But they both have big knots in their heads, and it's telling that Sanji is congratulated by that's definitely Nami. And Zoro is congratulated by Chopper. They've always been They've always been paired up together.
It's great that they dream the correct injury that they inflicted on each other. At least with Sanji, at least with Zoro, it looks to be the case in Sanji's bubble.
Sanji in Zoro's bubble looks like he just got Gedatsu'd.
With Nami's face like buried into Sanji's shoulder, like to the audience, it doesn't quite feel like that's really Nami. It's just like a version of Nami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
am I the only one who looks at those dream bubbles and they just look like a giant pair of pecs?
Hey, yeah.
I see a butt.
I also want to notice how happy that Zoro dreams of Chopper idolizing him over beating up Sanji.
That's very cute.
Yeah, it's an interesting interesting look into Zoro's psyche.
Oh boy. It's very endearing. It definitely gives you a sort of more well-rounded look at Zoro than just like badass guy who keeps to himself, you know?
Yeah.
Deep in his subconscious, he wants Chopper to think he's cool.
But it takes so little for him to think you're cool. It's a really low bar. Any other thoughts? Okay, let's get started, Ed.
Okay, so back at the ruins of Odin Castle, Kuri, and Wano. Once Odin Castle stood here, Kinemon begins, but that is just a moniker. Its true name is Kuri Castle. People of Kuri called it by that title out of their love for Lord Odin. As all the Straw Hats and Momonosuke...
This is Luffy in particular responding, right?
Well, yeah, he says, "You mean Momo's dad?" And Momo pipes in, "That is correct." And Kinemon continues, "Our Lord Odin was a rather boisterous fellow, as a matter of fact, and despite being the son of Kozuki Sukiyaki being another noodle-based hot...
Yeah, I
super
lost
great
it
name.
at that.
Oh, God, yeah, that's true. That didn't occur to me.
Yep, they're both Nabemono. He was Kozuki Sukiyaki, the shogun of Wano at the time. His willful ways and repeated acts of violence earned him banishment from the flower capital. Meanwhile, at that time, there was a place in Wano known for being a lawless area. Criminals and ronin banished from other towns and regions banded together there to steal and attack and shed blood day after day. Even the shogunate threw in the towel on this vicious place. That was Kuri. The young Lord Odin strode into that very Kuri, identified...
This is prison rules.
This is prison rules. He fought Ashura Doji, the demon child. He was victorious. Soon he had assumed command of all those ruffians. He gave them work to do. They built up a town and a castle. He even created the Paradise Farm for them. It was a lively and bustling town, bursting with freedom and laughter. So Shogun Sukiyaki decided to give him the title Daimyo of Kuri at the young age of 20.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
I like that, this answers a lot of the questions that we had prior to this point, which is like, okay, how does this all fit together? Yeah. Like, is he the daimyo? Is he the shogun? Like, how, what is the extent of the Kozukis? And finally, he lays it out here that, yes, the dad was the shogun, and, Oden was, the son who assumed command of this particular area of Wano, and
so probably not the first son.
This is also the flashback of silhouettes. Everyone is silhouetted.
I have to say something about the silhouette here. Oda found a way to repurpose that silhouette that was supposed to be one of the four emperors from post Eni's Lobby.
Oh my god! The big
here I thought it was Frank Zappa.
Well, that's the other one, right? Ed's talking about the guy on the left.
Ashura.
Yeah.
Okay, I was talking about. Okay, is that?
It does look like
Odin
a soul
or
patch,
Sukiyaki?
Yeah.
I think that's supposed to be Odin.
Yeah, I think
that's my assumption.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is an assumption from all of us.
He's got the sword. Yeah. So,
but the other guy with his smile and his head shaped like like an onigiri, that's what he really looks like that guy from the Four Emperors.
You are right.
Like Jinbei.
Or Jinbei.
Yeah, that too. Doesn't have the for it.
This is definitely the most we've seen Oden, though.
Welcome to Wano, where everybody is Jinbei.
I like the fact that this guy. I don't know. That my first thought when they named Ashura Doji the demon child, it made me think that perhaps he was pretty young and could still be around today, causing trouble or something.
Greg, what were you going to say?
So this answers a question, not a question, but just kind of something I've been wondering about for a long time, with respect to that famous line that I think we referenced last week about Momonosuke wanting to be the shogun and declaring, like, I'm going to be the shogun, to Luffy's I want to be the Pirate King. And this is that claim. Just as Stephen was saying, like, okay, now we know some of the familial relationships. This is why that kind of, I don't know if it was even a dream at the time or just kind of, him being rough and tumble with Luffy, but like why he could even say that is because they do have this history. He does have a legitimate claim to the throne, which is why it was a little bit kind of weird that, we thought they were in this quote unquote backwater area. And he's saying, like, I want to be shogun. How could he ever, legitimately claim that? Well, here's our answer. So thank you, Oda.
Maddie, we could probably move on.
Okay, yeah. So Kinemon continues. They dug out a river, built a dock, connected to other towns and people. Lord Odin loved to say, it's too cramped. And then we cut to Zoro, who is going, sheesh, these people. He just beat up a tiger. Where did they get off to? Where did the rest of the Straw Hats run off to? And he says, can't believe that Komainu actually got lost with me riding on it.
Come on. Come on.
And
I love this
goes,
with last week. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it's just like continuing Zoro's grand adventure. I don't know where he's off to, but he goes, hey, a dock. Guess I'll take another ride.
Another?
And I don't know. I feel like Zoro's going off on his own adventure for a few chapters.
This is the most inside Zoro's brain, I feel like, as to like why he gets lost that we've ever seen. It's like, oh, a dock. Let me go on the boat for no reason. Okay. Sure.
It's like the equivalent of when Luffy gets lost in Skypiea and he's singing the song and he's just wandering around. This is what Zoro does when he's on his own.
He's just so arrogant that it's everyone else's fault but his. It's Komainu's fault. It's all the other Straw Hats' fault. He's the only one doing the right thing.
Please tell me he took down that tiger with Toragari. Please tell me he took it down.
I wonder, is he going to eat it, or did he just do it because it was attacking him too?
Probably attacked him.
Yeah. All right.
Find out in the anime.
There'll be a few episodes of material there. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then we cut to a shore in Kuri, Wano. For Lord Odin, the realm of Wano was just a bit too small. Ah, but how fondly I remember this old shore. And then we find out that this is Dogstorm who is talking. When we first washed up here, they feared us, calling us talking dog and talking cat. But Lord Odin was different. And he's wiping away a tear, remembering him and Cat Viper as cute little tiny babies.
They're so small.
They're great.
They're so cute. And just so shame on all of you. Your fear of the alien exposes your own ignorance, is what Lord Odin was saying. And Dogstorm continues, he was our savior. He was a true hero. He was our master.
How could they do that to a dog and cat? Just like,
you know,
they were talking.
It looks like they have like Boy Scout uniforms on, like with little badges.
Yeah.
But I think that's their I think Cat Viper was wearing the same thing. That's like the Guardian uniform, right? I think at some point.
It looks very similar to it.
Yeah.
They're like junior guardians or something.
And we asked last week, but dude, where did he park his like?
And we see Shishilian and the zebra guy.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
We don't have a name for the zebra guy still, right? No.
It's just zebra guy.
Zebra guy? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm more of a Cat Viper person, but I can't get over Pupstorm. He is very cute.
So cute.
Oh yeah.
A little frown.
Pupstorm and Kitty.
As well?
What's that?
Steven, did this hit you as well? This Kinemon quoting Oden here. This is boring. Kyukutsuda. That's ripped from Luffy. Like Luffy. That's one of his like Meigen. Yeah. Which is probably why he might be actually interested in this discussion.
Yeah, wasn't that? Gosh, I think because I just read that It was at the very end of Dressrosa when they have the Sun's cups and all the guys are going to pledge allegiance to Luffy, and he's like, "No, you're going to cramp my style." I think that was the same line. Yeah,
it is.
So that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Sam.
On the next page, Kinemon is continuing. He's saying the samurai of Wano, who entranced Whitebeard and even charmed Roger. So that's some good company.
Is that Dogstorm talking?
Or is it? Oh, I thought it was.
I think that's Dogstorm's dialogue as we're seeing Kinemon silently tell the story that we can't hear yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. It is confusing. Yeah, I didn't get that either.
Yeah. So I think that's true. Dogstorm is talking, and then we get this little montage of the story, which we don't get to hear, which is it's making Luffy laugh. Kinemon seems to be happy to say what he's saying. Sanji is surprised, but the rest of them are just kind of going along with it. They're having a good time.
I love that bottom panel where Luffy is knocked down by the story. You can see his leg.
And Luffy hates stories, as we know.
It's true, actually. Yeah.
And no sound effects or anything to punctuate.
Well, you guys, this is Luffy Taro, who is interested in stories.
Right. Luffy Taro is smarter and interested in stories. I love the differences, yes.
Well, it is important, actually, to just spend a second on that. Sorry. Because, like you said, Luffy does not listen to stories, but I think he sees a kinship with this dude. And I think Oda's specifically putting this in here because it is so interesting to him. Because we discussed this about, Seven Samurai, how important it is to One Piece. I think that he is purposely having Luffy interested because they're a bunch of kind of ragtag fools. This Oden character seems like a ruffian like Luffy. He has the same line as him. They seem to have these misadventures. And I think that Luffy is genuinely interested in this story because it is so not different, but I mean, it's not just emotion and depression and these sad things happen. And when that finally hits, it hits him all the more deeply. So sorry for the aside, but.
And we have this establishing shot from the outside where we just sort of see the Heart Pirates hanging out, just waiting for the story to be done. Are we assuming that Law has heard the story already?
I would have to believe so, right?
Yeah, and they discuss remember when Zoro said...
That was the cliffhanger. Wasn't it the cliffhanger like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
they
said...
It'll shock your pants off.
Yeah. It's because of all the diarrhea. But they were really just... Yeah, they said that, it was even shocking to me, Zoro. But go ahead.
Yeah, so all the Straw Hats present, they wouldn't have heard this story yet.
Right.
So some time passes. They've clearly gotten to the sad part of the story, and Sanji looks angry. Nami she's got some tears in her eyes, but that's awful. And Luffy is shocked as well. What happened to Oden? Lord Oden, beloved by all, was taken to the flower capital as a criminal, tried and executed. What? No way. That's messed up. What a dirty thing to do, Orochi. And while Lord Oden's stunning death might be 20 years in the past, to all of us, it was mere months ago. And you see Okiku and Momonosuke, they're crying. They're having to relive this whole thing. The end of the heroic warrior known as Kozuki Oden. You got Carrot and Chopper crying, Brooks crying. Still appears fresh and vivid when I close my eyes. And Brooke is saying, just what a great, great man.
I love the expression of Brooke's face in particular.
It's interesting because this is sort of like, I don't know, it's a bit of a little bit of a storytelling gamble on Oda's part, or at least for most authors, where like he's giving you the emotional reaction of this backstory that we all know we're going to see. And he's also, it's sort of like, telling someone that a scary movie, like a horror movie, is going to be really, really scary. It's like, okay, this is going to be really sad, so get ready for it. It's kind of daring people not to do it. Of course, he's got pretty much he's batting 1,000 when it comes to making people sad over flashbacks. So it's not that hard, but it is kind of interesting that he framed it this way.
Well, yeah, I mean, he does love playing with like non-linear storytelling in general. Like he gets that like influence from Tarantino quite a bit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to Drum almost. Certainly Luffy didn't get the impact of that, but I believe Sanji heard it. I think he was there for it. And
Or at least Nami was.
or Nami, was it? Yeah, it was Nami. It was Kureha to Nami. That's right. The others were chasing Chopper, and which led into the longest Gum Gum bullet in the world.
Oh yeah, it's me. So we go on, and we're gonna get a little more flashback here. Sanji with his shirt back on, noting that it is a wonder that they all had survived this. We don't know what exactly, and Kinemon agreeing that at that point we had no allies, and they only had the choice of desperate escape. They left the execution area and headed straight to where they are now, Odin Castle. And along the way, this is apparently when Dogstorm and Cat Viper's feud began, which for those in Zoe remember, and now they seem to be on better terms again, maybe. And Kinemon continues that when Orochi's men caught them, they gave up their lives for lost. And at that point, they had no matter which of them fell, someone had to reach the castle. To take what's his face, Orochi. It's right on the same panel. And so in Orochi's quest for the Kozuki clan, his next target was Momonosuke in the castle. But Kaido's forces had beaten them to the punch, and the castle was already burning. We're gonna probably have to spend a little time on these panels. We get a look here of silhouettes of what I assume are the three, the not catastrophes, calamities. That was close.
Mm-hmm.
So we know
some Fist of the North Star looking dudes.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So
one looks just like Pika.
Fucks.
Yeah, I was gonna say his helmet looks remarkably like Pika's.
And shoulders.
I'm hoping that's a T-Rex.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, but that would mean that Kaido
Drake, right?
Kaido would have recruited Drake 20 years ago.
Is Drake a T-Rex?
Yeah, right.
I thought he
Is
was.
Is he?
Yeah.
You keep
There
saying
are
He's an Allosaurus or something.
there are dinosaurs that look like T-Rex. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Interesting. Maybe.
Maybe he died and they got the fruit. You know.
Isn't there that
that's
thing
also
above a
true.
T-Rex? What's it called? Am I just making that up? That there's another kind of dinosaur that's...
Go watch Jurassic World, Zach.
Yeah. Those movies are made up. Those are all
okay.
made up dinosaurs. Those are DNA spliced. Blah 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 blah.
Anyway, and one of them is Jack the Drought. I'm assuming the one on the left.
Yeah. The guy all the way on the right looks like I don't know. He looks like that's a smile, and those are pointy ears. Looks like a Toriyama character.
Yeah.
But that's just at first glance.
And I think we should also keep in mind that that Kaido's henchmen have all looked pretty wacky for the most part. So this may go in a different direction than you think. They may not all look like badasses.
Who's that guy next to Raizo?
Right.
He comes up a few times here too. At the end of this 2-page spread, he's on the right. I think this guy. So we don't know. That's the answer to that. Anyway, Kinemon gets to the castle, and he's describing what had happened. That Lord Momonosuke, his younger sister, Lady Hiyori, and their mother, Kozuki Toki.
Come on. Is that too on the nose? That name?
Toki.
Yeah.
Yes, it means
Yeah,
time. I
time.
did put a note in. They didn't put it in the margin, but
Okay.
That's Toki
yeah,
is
Toki
time.
means time.
Yeah.
I
Kozuki
remember
time.
Joe's-
Yeah.
At
Yeah, I
least
remember
it
from
is a homophone for time. He didn't use the actual kanji, but it's pretty clear when it says Toki and then she has the Toki Toki no Mi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There were other people talking to. Did anyone else have a comment there in her name? Or Hiyori? No?
So-
Stephen,
means
would that be
that.
the Toki Toki fruit or the Toki Doki fruit? Sorry.
Toki
definitely
Toki Panic.
Okie
Right,
dokie.
yeah.
Beat me to it.
Write that one down.
Toki Toki. Okay, so he continues that at the time it was difficult for him to believe the rumor, but Lady Toki had been born with the Toki Toki. Now, a long time ago. Long ago. Far, far away. And and we see her silhouetted with Lady Hiyori silhouetted, and for some reason Momonosuke is only half silhouetted, and
We know what he looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
kind of weird that the lighting happened to go that way, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, and saying mankind cannot return to the past, but it can leap into the future. Greg, are you Kozuki Toki by any chance joining us from the past? No. Okay. Well,
Because of the time difference, I think.
No, he's in the future. That's the whole thing.
well, also because he said something along these lines. Anyway,
I said, yeah. So for people tuning in this week for the first time to the One Piece podcast, welcome. And last week I said, look, when I first read this, it hit me with two things. It was the cryogenic theory based on Punk Hazard Experience by Vegapunk, or the fact that because backwards is going to be way too messy, if this is time related, you can only go forward, because it's just going to be way too disgusting if they can go back and forward, and it's too much for Oda. I know he's great, but it's just way too messy.
I wonder if he's kicking himself. I mean, we're assuming, I guess, that she is not, that she sacrificed herself to use the forward powers. I wonder if he's kicking himself that, like, oh man, if that power existed in the future, I would not have to have Luffy stuck between two buildings or inside a giant snake. I could just transport him into the future 20 chapters and move the story forward in the meantime.
I'm kicking Oda for that. Yeah, so I mean, this
fun way of using it.
This character also poses some really interesting things since she does come from a long ago, and as we know, the past in One Piece is ripe for more material. Anyway, she said so she's been traveling presumably further and further into the future until she arrived here, and by here we mean 20 years ago, and this is her final destination. And I guess this is Kinemon responding, oh, you mean to Lord Odin? And she responds, yes, and so I will stay here. And Kinemon says, we wouldn't dare stop you, but if you'd like to continue, Alex.
Yeah, but if we truly leapt into the future, we would find a way to finish Lord Odin's wish and strike down Orochi and Kaido so that this country could be opened at last. She says to them, well, I leave Momonosuke in your hands, and before they know it, they are transported to, well, what we assume is the future. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5 of them, I guess.
5 plus. And
yeah, 5 plus. We don't see the squat Casa-headed gentleman from the previous page. Perhaps he's still in the past, or she is in the past, or just off panel. But they kind of look around, and they're in smoldering ruins. What is this? As birds serenely chirp around them. Is this a dream? Where are they? Where are we? Where's the castle? The fire? Lady Togi? Yeah, where are they all at? Where's Lady Hiyori? That's what I want to know. And a tearful Momonosuke asks where his mother is, demands Kinemon for the answer. And rather than answering him, they kind of look upon these aged graves, their own graves. And that is their evidence that Lady Toki's power was indeed real.
Wow, such a Dickensian image there.
Mm-hmm.
My own grave.
Please, spirit. Kinemon is flabbergasted to come to the realization that this is indeed Wano, as he sees the factories on top of the mountain peaks, which I kind of love as an image. Mm-hmm. It sort of blends that industrialism with that old world mysticism.
Reminds me of
from ukiyo paintings.
Or that and the Lion King kind of. When the sky turns dark and everything's evil now.
I was also
sort of Fern Gully.
Oh, Fern Gully. Tim Curry is Kaido. I would be down for that, by the way.
Not these days.
Yeah. Robin Williams is Rizo.
Oh boy,
a rapping Rizo.
Woof. I also enjoy this as an image just because you take those famous mountains from Dragon Ball and plop some gross factories on top of them as well. But they are indeed 20 years in the future, and Kinemon says it was a world that was truly unknown to us. So we decided to walk about the land to learn of its nature. Like, hey, why not? Let's check it out.
What did they find? He goes on to say that they found it basically as we see it today, with rows of factories and towering smokestacks, undrinkable water, and tightly controlled food supplies. And we see a panel of Kaido's men basically working people to death.
There's two Muppets. And two Muppets.
Oh, yeah. I know. That guy looks like the dude from the Davy Back fight.
Yes. Itomi Mizu. Looks just like him. I had noted that.
Yeah. And there's a dog looking at a skull. I guess disappointed that there's not any meat on it. And then we see some folks who are maybe a little more well off laughing because as he goes on, their ruined daimyo and city, the land barren and dry, that now the proud Kazuki name has been scorned, and this is not the land of Wano that they once knew. And they assumed that there was not going to be anyone on their side, but he goes on to say that they were wrong as Luffy watches intently, or listens, I guess I should say. And then we flash back a little bit, and they meet a man named Jibuemon, who says that he was once a retainer of Kibi, and that he has waited for them for 20 years. He trusted the words of their mother, Lady Toki, or of Momonosuke's mother, and all for this one day. And did anybody else look up that name, Jibuemon? I did a quick Google of it, and after a couple pages of One Piece wiki stuff, I came across it's the name of a character from a kabuki play, which I think is pretty interesting. Named Hashimoto is the name of the play, and I read a little bit about it. It doesn't seem like it really pertains to the story, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's where Oda grabbed the name from, since we've been seeing a lot of these sort of theatrical names and things being used in this arc. So Momonosuke is surprised that that he brings up his mother, and Jibuemon says Lady Toki's final words suggested the revenge of the Kazuki clan in 20 years' time. And despite it being kind of hard for them to believe, they thought it was possible because none of the bodies of the Azakaya 9 were ever found. And then we see a few of these guys, and I thought this was interesting. Last week, Greg mentioned the 7 lucky gods with that boat, and that's the image that I saw when I saw these guys. They kind of look like those gods a little bit,
especially the one on the left. What's the guy's name?
Buddha.
I can never remember.
No, it's like the god of like a good harvest and stuff. I forget. He's he's typically depicted as very large and bald and with the drooping ears.
Actually, damn, all of them do. The one on the far right looks very much like Bishamonten. The one in the gruff looking guy, he could look a lot like Ebis. He's even got the headband. And the old man with this monk stick, he looks similar to one of the old men with the very, very long head. He's almost got like a strawberry head. Yeah, that's a good point. It's really good.
I did a little Googling. Chibuemon is also a Rakugo story about a forgetful samurai.
Ah, there we go. That might be more along the lines of... that's interesting.
Except instead of forgetting, he remembered.
They go on to say that on the slim chance that they might that this crazy story that Toki was telling them might come true, and that these people might show up to lead them to victory over the wicked Orochi. Everyone who was prepared to fight at their side got a little tattoo of a moon on their ankle, and on the other side a butterfly and a Bible verse on their wrist.
What is this, spring break? Spring break tattoo. Oh man.
But but I think that's cool. The little ankle tattoo of
I
the moon.
guarantee you we see people with that tattoo soon.
Mm.
Yes.
Hey, if that tattoo was reversed, it would look a whole lot like a D.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It also looks like a C, which is the letter before D. A half moon, crescent moon. Go ahead.
Kinemon is a bit shocked here that after 20 years they still have allies, and says that we will need to rouse these forces without alerting anyone. And to which they reply, "We'll do everything we can." So we kind of flash out of the flashback.
Stephen, take us through the entire New World storyline now.
You stole my thunder. Well, actually, before I go on, I did want to point out that interestingly, I'm not sure if this is a mistake or what, but when they mentioned when Oda drops the Akazaya 9 name in the dialogue, in this case, he actually wrote it out fully in kanji this time to mean red scabbard. So it is definitely true. I'm still not sure whether or not that would change how I want to have it translated, just because, well, I mean, it is a black and white manga, but it's hard to know, like, okay, are we talking about literal scabbards? Is this kind of a figurative name? Is this a poetic name or something? It's sort of hard to say. So
yeah, go ahead.
I guess we'll see. That's what I was going to say.
And in all seriousness, the mark of the moon could actually lend more credence to moon-related theories, such as the ones I have. I mean, it's also on Raizo's head, carved into his forehead.
Yeah. Well, yes, it is
a little less subtle there.
A little bit, yeah.
The Kozuki are the light moon clan, so
as we've discussed. Yeah. I mean,
they're all just big fans of Moon Knight.
I mean, the new run is really good,
Stephen.
So all right, that was an interesting backstory for Wano, but how did they get to where we saw them? And Kinemon explains that he left Kiku here in Wano to continue the investigation of the enemy forces, and then the rest of them went out in search of like-minded fellows to recruit to the cause. So looking for the seven samurai, so to speak, for them, and they were spotted clearly here. You can see by some of Kaido's guys. As they were trying to leave, which is also a crime, and so they were immediately, persona non grata. They're sailing along, trying to reach Zo, and you can see it in the background, but they kind of weren't up to the task of sailing the New World here, and they crashed and wrecked, and Raizo got swept away to Zo, where we first met him. Then they kind of washed up on the shore of Dressrosa, where they were also in trouble because Doflamingo is still working for Kaido at that time. And, they were being chased around the country. Momonosuke got onto a strange boat by mistake. And in trying to chase after him, Kinemon got separated with Kanjuro, who stays behind. And, of course, we met him in the underground... what was it? The toy dump.
Yeah, it was the refuse heap. I just read that a little bit ago.
Yes, the garbage heap. And then the ship took them to Punk Hazard, where Kinemon was sliced up by Law, who was kind of working as the guardsman there, and sliced him into multiple pieces that scattered around the island. And that was it. It was, he was in his most desperate state when he met all of you. Yes, with a smile on his face, fond reminiscence as
Caesar.
As I like that drawing of him being split apart by Law.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good image.
And then his head being, I forgot that his mouth ended up on his forehead when he would get turned upside down like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird.
Yeah. And so then Luffy is, remembering these scenes from Punk Hazard where they first saw the quote unquote talking dragon, which it turned out was Kinemon farting, in speak farting, and then him, being all Twitter pated over Nami's bikini top, and that was how they got to where we first met them. It was just peril after peril, as he said, but I was fortunate to meet you. Orochi's forces have singled us out, but the good news for us is that they're not really taking us seriously because to them, we're basically just ghosts. It sounds like they're not really sure what to make of these, stories of the Akazaya Nine coming back to enact their revenge.
All right. So go on the last page.
All right, and here we kind of wrap things up with a little bit of covering of plot details with, they haven't even bothered to warn the populace of wanted posters that we have re-entered the nation, and still they do not realize it. And Kiku's like, you didn't even tell this one? And he's like, yes, I do, sorry. And so he's like, hey, stop flirting.
I mean, it's that obvious. It's very obvious.
And he says, this is of the utmost importance that our plan is not exposed. And Luffy's like, okay, got it. So that's how Luffy coming through.
He doesn't got it.
He did. And very, very cool panel reviewing our forces, who we have on our side, basically. On our side, we have the Straw Hat Crew, Sir Law and his Heart Pirates, the Mink Powers of Dogstorm's Musketeers, Cat Viper's Guardians, and the various samurai we are rousing who will have the will to fight back. And they're looking for about 5,000. However, we do not wish for war. We only wish to end it. We must gather information in secrecy and carry out a plan to cut off the head of the leadership. And here's the super important part. In 2 weeks' time, on the night of the Fire Festival, we will travel to Kaido's base of Onigashima, called it 3 years ago, the Island of Ogres, and carry out a raid.
So let's just do it and be legends, man.
Raid?
Oh
The
boy.
the Fire Festival.
Whatever. I raid. I have to raid every Thursday. It's no big deal.
That's the island. I mean, look at those horns.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As if it couldn't get any more obvious about the Momotaro connection.
So we've actually seen this. We've seen those horns even before. If you go back and check the some of the Drake chapter, where Drake appeared and where Kaido appeared.
Has Kid imprisoned, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I seem to remember as kind of being like, is that a castle? I can't tell. It's weirdly shaped.
What a cool looking island, though, or whatever it is.
This is such a treasure island, or the island of the skull.
It's the most piratey looking. It's the most piratey looking
Spider
island.
Skull Island.
Yeah.
Turns out it is Kaido himself. He just has the island for.
It could be an ours.
Oh my god, yeah, it's like an ore skeleton.
Holy
or
crap.
something.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
So it's like a little garden thing where that would be cool.
It could be the home island of the Oars people. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a very good call. And if a lot of people, I saw a lot of people online being like, "Oh my god, I totally called it. They're not going to fight Kaido this arc. Haha, it's a different island." It's like, guys, chill. Onigashima is off the coast of mainland Japan. It's just a tiny island off there. This is all related to Wano. It's actually a little bit of history. It's believed to be a small island off of current day Okayama. That's where most people believe the quote unquote actual Onigashima is located.
Wow.
Yeah, we basically graduated from islands to island clusters.
Archipelagos?
Yeah.
Archipelagos.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, because that's true, but Japan is kind of well known as the archipelago, at least in Japan. I'm not surprised.
It leaves many opportunities for those ocean battles.
Yeah, which Oda seems to want to do more of, which, this is more quintessential, pirate kind of stuff here. The Spider Skull Island, so just the Skull Island, the fights at sea, carrying out raids.
I was actually thinking if this was the island where Antonio Inoki had a famous island death match that he had, his wrestling match, but it was actually a place called Ganryujima. So,
that was the famous Musashi duel, right? Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so
where he fights Kojiro.
No, but Inoki is such a egomaniac that he decided to have an island death match on Ganryujima against.
That's awesome.
Good match. I mean, anyway.
Yeah, should we discuss the chapter?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Who should we start with here? We have so many people. Maddie, I haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
I
it's okay.
have myself muted while I'm drawing.
No, that's important.
Yeah. I mean, it was, it was a really wordy chapter, but like in a good way because it explained kind of a lot of things I think we had questions about. And it's like, okay, so this is kind of, how the time travel stuff has worked and all of this that, has kind of led to this point for the past, I don't know, 200, 300 chapters. It's kind of tied some stuff together. I love the cover page, as much as I loved all the, the 50 chapters of Orlumbus. It's fun to get back to these request ones. And I'm also like really looking forward to Zorro just like being lost on his own for a while, because that seems to be what he's going to end up doing.
He'll be in the right place at exactly the right moment, accidentally, because that's how that works. Yeah.
It'd be cool if we get like some side chapters of him just like on his own, though. I hope he doesn't just like vanish. That's sick.
Yeah, when we finally got Zorro back, he's gone.
Yeah.
So, anything else, Maddie?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, it's just, it's good information.
Sam?
Let's see here. So the story of the Kinemon squad, the journey that they've gone on, that we know of, it kind of really bugs me because like so much of what we've been told about them, like pretty transparently, it's like, it's time for a twist. So now we learn that, Kinemon and Momonosuke aren't actually related by blood, or they're actually time travel. I don't know, just like it like once the story actually like lays out the chronological events in order for you, it's like, it was really kind of, I don't know, it's very awkward and contrived to me. And I don't think there's much you can really do about that with everything that's been set up at this point, but just I feel kind of weird about it. I am really excited to find out the 2 weeks is the thing that I'm the most excited about, because there's so many, anytime that there's a suggestion that we're going to be here or we're going to jump ahead in time.
We're not jumping ahead in time. The next chapter comes out in 2 weeks. I don't see what the big deal is here.
I guess, yeah. Because there's so many things that could happen in 2 weeks within the story, right? Because the Reverie is probably going to wrap up. Jinbei has time to get to Wano. We're getting closer to the next full moon. That's what I'm wondering is like maybe that's why they're waiting 2 weeks, is because they want the minks at like their strongest or something.
Well, it's for the festival. That's when the festival starts.
But we don't know why it has to be the festival yet.
Well,
okay.
Maybe the festival needs the moon.
I was going to say,
proper festival.
So a lot of festivals in Asia take place on full moons or lunar New Year's, that kind of stuff. They go by the lunar calendar. So it would not be absurd, I don't think, to think that it's related to the moon in some way.
Right. And we don't know how long it took Luffy and the others to get from Whole Cake to Wano. But yeah, I think it's an interesting exposition chapter. I didn't like it as much as I liked last week's chapter, which I thought was just a lot of fun. But then this week, it just like the big picture story of the samurai guys. I think I'm just like so. I think it was a very clunky ride so far.
Joey.
Yeah, it was nice to kind of put everything together, to lay everything out and get sort of the basics. Of course, leaving out the major chunk of the Odin flashback, which I'm very much looking forward to. I'm super excited. I was excited to see the Momotaro stuff kind of laid out more obviously, but I'm super excited about this fire festival personally. Like, listeners of Toho Yaro might remember me mentioning several times that I'm a big fan of like festivals and festival scenes in movies and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that depicted. And as for the Momotaro stuff, it's cool to see this like final spread of 4 panels here. We've got Momonosuke with a monkey on one side, Luffy, and the dog. And then I guess Law is the pheasant, which I don't really see how that works, how he is the pheasant, except for the fact that he is very skilled in peacocking. But
He's a snow leopard.
Or that he's just grumpy all the time, like most birds.
yeah, I guess the bird's most normal or most well-known quality is their grumpiness and their genes. The Toki fruit, time fruit stuff is interesting. I am very interested by the fact that that Lady Toki is from even before this 20-year time period. It makes you wonder how far back she's from, and it kind of gives you the idea that the devil fruits are actually more ancient than some people might have thought. It kind of maybe does away with the idea that like Vegapunk like was creating them or something like that, but like this also opens a whole can of worms where like people from the Void Century could theoretically still be in our time, which is interesting. Or other people just from ancient times.
That's what I'm wondering with Emu, maybe.
Yeah. So that's a whole other thing that's really interesting, and I'm very curious to see what happened with Momonosuke's sister. Of course, it was probably pretty. If she's still alive, which I would kind of guess that she is, this would be a very traumatic experience, and I could see her kind of shaping up in any number of ways. I didn't quite believe this like idea that the only way for them that they jump to this conclusion that they have to jump ahead in time to find someone to beat Kaido and Orochi, because it just didn't quite. It felt kind of forced to me. I don't see why they wouldn't just say like, well, let's leave Wano and find someone now, rather than like let's jump in time, unless they like legitimately didn't think that they could like physically escape unless she sent them in time.
That could be another Kenbun Shoku genius kind of thing.
What is that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Colors of observation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at least I get the impression based on like the one panel where the castle is burning and stuff that it kind of seemed like, well, maybe that was the only way to escape. And I don't know. I mean, sure, maybe they didn't need to go 20 whole years, but I don't know. I guess you could probably chalk that up to some storytelling license that she would have a sense, like intuit that they're here, the forces that could help them, it would take 20 years for that to happen for the right person, aka Luffy, to come along or something, who knows.
The way I'm imagining it in my head, it's like there is there's a specific, like there's a fate that they're trying to meet. Like the voice of all things is saying that this change will happen here, and we got to make sure that happens by sending the guys.
Yeah, and what was the prophecy from the last chapter again? I wish I should get that in front of me.
But do you think the prophecy was made after she sent them?
Yeah, I think it was probably made after. Yeah.
Toki made this Akazaya 9 or whoever they were, right? The Akazaya 9 was because Toki said that before she died, right?
Right. Presumably it's like she sent them forward, and then when Kaido's forces reached the chamber or whatever, then she says that, and then we assume that she died at that point.
So I was thinking about how, I mean, it's kind of fun that Luffy versus Katakuri is happening in the anime right now, because, what that kind of brings up is the color of observation haki, like as Greg said, can be used to see into the future a little bit, but maybe that could be amplified with her fruit.
Super interesting. Yeah.
And he obviously, Momonosuke as a child has incredible colors of observation.
Yes.
And the line from Napping Kiyoshiro was, "You are the moon, unaware of the dawn. May your purpose be fulfilled, and cast 9 shadows on the night woven of 20 years, and you shall know the brilliance of the dawn." So,
I mean, that's a lot of like very like One Piece. I mean, like big what's it called, the coming of the dawn sort of thing. Like,
Yep.
that's
But it makes it sound like Toki had some idea, something besides just sending them in the future, that out of that would be something legitimate,
right,
that could take them down.
Something perhaps more meaningful than just like taking back the throne of Kuri or Wano or whatever.
Yeah. It sounds much bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how old she is, so who knows?
Right.
Yeah, and I had just come across this quote from Pedro where he was talking about like a thing that had been talked about in Wano for centuries, right?
Yeah.
What was that?
The dawn of the world.
Yeah.
I think someone sent that to us, but I could look.
It
around.
was me.
Oh, that was you.
Oh.
That's someone.
That he says that he has a suspicion that Luffy and his friends are those whom the people of the Kozuki clan have awaited for centuries, the ones who will guide us to the dawn of the world, which I think is.
And yeah, I mean, who? Obviously, you can't go backward in time, so I'm wondering how they could have known that. The prophecy prophesized.
I mean, Toki. I mean, like, if she is centuries old, then that would make sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, I could understand. So, but how did Toki figure it out is the big question there.
And just while we're on Toki, I know she's supposed to appear elegant, so her design might be, slightly different than that shadow, but that kind of body structure, that very elongated style, also could be very similar to Im.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also
I don't mean her herself, but I mean the same kind of people, perhaps.
Just since we're on the body type thing, specifically Kinemon and Kiku are definitely much larger than the average person.
Yeah, that's another thing that's been bugging me. Those two are very genetically unique. Maybe they are some of the people of the giant country, because that giant straw hat might actually. Well, it's not that big, is it? No, no, it's bigger than that.
We don't know completely how big that straw hat is, because we don't know completely how big Emu is. So there's a lot of
giantism is like a recessive gene that got passed down centuries.
They had he had the wanted poster, so I don't know. That's a big discussion topic. Anyway, Alex.
Yeah, I really love when Oda does chapters like this, because then we just get a whole crap ton of info, and it moves the story along in a very, I think, a very economical way. You've got a lot of really good art in this chapter, and what I really loved was seeing the Straw Hats silent reactions to the story that Kinemon was telling. It's been a while since I think the Straw Hats got invested in something like this, and have Luffy get invested in this as well is quite telling. It really sets up this arc in terms of how exactly the Straw Hats are going to be involved. As for other stuff, let's see. I want to know who that squat figure is. With the
can I offer my 2 cents on that?
Please do.
Is probably Hitetsu, and the Hiyori is probably Tama.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's more obvious.
So that's wow.
But then were they sent in time, like to a different time than Kinemon was?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Sort of like the advanced artillery, I guess.
And that does explain why she
was there for Ace.
Chooses this specific. Yes, exactly. There's something specific that she's trying to achieve. So,
and also why Tama is specifically talking about the Kozukis. Ridiculous, yeah.
And didn't Tama also have some sort of weird age consistency as well?
He wrote her age was weird, where it was like she was 8 in one chapter and then 7 in the other, or something like that. I know what you're talking about, Alex.
How old's Momonosuke? Okay. Like 11 or 12? Something like that?
Yeah, I think he's 11.
Okay, I didn't know how old Momonosuke was.
I mean, 21. 22, sorry.
Wait,
But-
do we have an age on Momo? I assumed he was
Um,
like 6 or 7 or something.
his
can't
favorite
call
card
him
is
that.
not out yet, so we don't have a. I don't think we have a. Unless it's been in an SBS, but I don't recall.
I thought it had been mentioned.
Says on the
Age
wiki, it
8.
says 8 from chapter 701. So.
Oh.
Well, that makes all the Nami stuff really weird.
But yeah, it looked like it looked like Hiyori was significantly younger than him. So I guess they sent her not as far into the future, so she would be a little older by the time 20 years came. So
Yeah, either way, I don't think Hiyori is dead. Like, I'm 99% sure of that.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
no body.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I mean, you
Well,
can
it's
say that
just
about everyone,
What's the storytelling purpose of introducing a younger sister who's mysteriously not mentioned, and to have it turn out, oh well, she's dead, so it doesn't matter anyways.
yeah, I mean, like, so yeah, I'm going to use the Star Wars method here.
Oh no.
Well, what other, what other girl has already been introduced in this arc that is roughly the same age? Oh, Leia. Leia's my sister. Like,
Well, I mean,
it's-
if she had not been sent in time, we could meet her as an adult, like as a.
That's what I
20-something.
was assuming. Yeah.
Although that would make the whole like if Momo's supposed to be the Shogun one day, it feels weird for him to have like an older sister in this story.
No, but you don't get it. It's because then Momo gets to see his little sister as a grown-up babe and be like, oh, yeah, let me fondle let me get some puffy in here.
If Sanji
night,
is not
everybody.
into Reiju,
yeah.
if Sanji's not into Reiju, I think Oda will not go down that path.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah, the Momotaro analog. I was talking about that earlier. I think that's super awesome. Until Joey brought it up, I didn't really see the final 4 panels as Momotaro, the dog, the monkey, and the pheasant, and I think that's pretty sweet. Let me see. I really like this chapter, and I don't know where we're gonna go from here. If we're gonna get a little skip, or if we're gonna continue on in the current timeline. But I also think that it's interesting that Zoro got separated, because now he really is like, he's a Ronin. That's the part that he is playing in this story, and I think it's just gonna get even more crazy for old Greenhead in that regard. Like, he's living up to the part that he's playing. I think that's really great.
Hey, old Greenhead.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's like with both him and with Luffy, they're just like taking on these roles
Yeah,
in Wano.
I wonder what parts the others will play as well. I mean, we've seen what Robin and Frankie and Usopp are up to, so I wonder how everybody else is going to acclimate themselves to this country, if they do.
Steven.
Yeah, I don't. I guess I don't have a ton to add. I understand what Sam meant about, at least about the this chapter not necessarily being as entertaining as previous chapters, because it is definitely 100% an info dump chapter, and that's as far as a weekly manga goes, it's not the most elegant way to deliver a bunch of information, but I think it was really sorely needed to put everything into context, because there is so much info that we've gotten piecemeal up to this point, and like we were talking about, we didn't really know how it all fit together. This, I think he did a pretty efficient job at tying it all together, and I was really struck to it wasn't like this chapter put me in mind of this, but as we were approaching Wano in the general story, I would often think about kind of how extraordinary it was that we had these characters kind of tagging along that were telegraphed as being mainly part of a future arc, but that they were just kind of around and in the mix through this series of arcs leading up to this point. And it's kind of remarkable just to think about how much time, story time and real time, that we have known Kinemon and Momonosuke, and in shorter amounts Kanjuro and then Raizo, and then to kind of see it all put together into one direct storyline. I didn't have a problem. I mean, I thought it was kind of remarkable just to think about how it executed that in terms of storytelling, to have introduced them so early and had them be a part of this all along, so that by the time we get to Wano, they're not new characters by any stretch of the imagination. And I thought that was, I was really admiring his use of that. Aside from that, I guess I don't know what else to add. I didn't, since I wasn't on last week, I didn't get to mention that. I think originally I was a little bit skeptical. I was suspicious of, but not entirely thinking. I was a little less than 50% on the possibility that Okiku might actually not be a woman, just because it's kind of mysterious the way that she acts. And after a while I was like, okay, well, there's probably nothing here. It's just the kind of thing that a lot of Japanese authors would do. But then my suspicions went into overdrive last chapter when we see her interacting with like Kinemon, who seems to find her kind of annoying when she's like hugging him. And even Momonosuke, which again, a very lecherous character, was like, oh, hello, salutations, Kiku. Like, good to see you again. Like, did not care at all. And Zoro was also like, yeah, that's, I know you're still hiding something. And those struck me as very suspicious. Also, one other thing that I did not mention, but the Akazaya 9, in Japanese, it's actually the Akazaya Kunin Otoko, which means the 9 men. And I just shortened it to the Akazaya 9 for, punchiness reasons. But that also, it's like, yeah, sure, it could be a figure of speech. But I think there's enough evidence there that that's something worth keeping in the back of your mind.
Oh, the 9 old men. Like,
old men.
Yeah, it's a Disney reference for all you old school animation fans.
Mm. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, Greg.
I really don't have too much to add. I think we covered a lot of it. I thought this was, again, like Stephen, I don't know if this is the most elegant way to do it, but I definitely respect it because I've had my suspicions ever since they were leaving Punk Hazard and they were on the boat and they said Kaido, and Kinemon and Momonosuke were both like, what? From that point, I've been working towards the idea that it's all been linked up like this. So I've been reading with all of this in mind. And I think if you've been reading it with the idea that this is the direction we're going, it's brilliant. I love to see it all come together. I love it when a plan comes together. So just really, really fun to read and get through this chapter so we can move on to what's coming next.
Okay, cool. Ed.
I'm happy to see the Minx back in the story, but I don't really have much to add. I think this chapter raises more questions than it answers. But we've discussed pretty much everything.
Yeah, Pup Storm is great. I think we should start there. Yeah, no, this is like I agree with everyone else here. It's really like a confluence of. I think this chapter kind of shows how long, as Stephen put it, how long we've kind of taken to get to this point. It's basically been since the second we showed up in the New World that we've been following this specific storyline with Kinemon, who at the time was a backside on a dragon farting his words, to today, when he's a much taller, he still has digestive issues, but it's been really cool to see that all come together. I'm super curious how this is all going to work out. We talked a lot about the moon stuff, and this might be the arc where we get a lot of answers as to the significance of the moon in One Piece. I mean, we've talked about this countless times before, but Greg, I know a long time ago on your website, thegrandline.com/one-piece, or One Piece, just One Piece, I think, .html, that you had followed the moon cycle in the story, and it like actually is something that Oda has paid attention to since just about the beginning, correct?
Well, he kind of messed up during Zoe. He did pay attention to it. First of all, yes. he did pay very close attention to it, and then it seems that things got a little bit messy around Zoe, because what was it? I think they were on Zoe, they were healing Zoe, and like they're like, oh, it's a full moon tonight, and then like, all right, we're ready to go, and they spend like, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks getting to Whole Cake Island, and it's a full moon again.
Mm-hmm.
So how I've reconciled that is the healing process of Zoe took a long time. I'm going to say they were there for maybe 2-3 weeks, and he just decided to skip over that. We don't have that official information, but assuming that they do run on a monthly course for time, and we've seen calendars in the world, we know that there are dates.
Yeah, but we also saw that the model of the planets on with Professor Clover and all those moons. So who knows?
I mean, it could be a different cycle. It could take longer or shorter.
That's a very good point. That's Are there multiple moons, etc.?
Or even if there's one moon, maybe it's not the same as the moon here,
Right?
Where it's not 4 weeks or however many weeks it is for a lunar cycle here, but 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Yeah, so that could come to a head, but I don't know how I feel about and this has been discussed a bit at this point, but the way the story was told. I think Greg or Steven basically saying Oda's throwing down like, oh, this is gonna amaze you, but it's the way that the backstory is told. I don't know. It's like we know we're going to know all of this in a couple of months or a year or a few weeks or whatever it ends up being. And it's just like, I just want to know. Just tell me. They all get to hear it. Why don't I get to hear it?
Yeah, well, it's clear that, at this point in the arc, the Straw Hats need to know why. They need to be motivated, like we were saying.
And
it's just not the right.
Now.
Yeah, it's just not the right time for the readers yet.
Yeah.
That's what Oda's got to do. That's his French bread and caviar.
And it also reminded me, I was looking back through Momonosuke's profile since we were looking up his age, and he was silhouetted. Like, there was an anime episode where he was just silhouetted the entire time, and it made no sense. And there's a lot of silhouettes in this chapter. And just,
well, I mean, you know what Oda does with silhouettes. That just usually means, oh, well, I'm not going to...
No, yeah, I realize it. But it's like, what I mean to say is that in order for Oda to tell this story in the way that he wanted to tell it, where he's just telling a little to the audience, he really needed to hold back a lot of things and yet tease the audience about a lot of things. Like that mysterious character with the hat, who I really like the Hitetsu theory, by the way. I totally subscribe to the Hitetsu.
We didn't talk about him being the guy that we thought was Yorkie with Crocus.
Yeah, someone had mentioned that.
I think Hunter's fan.
I still think that's Yorkie.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
The hat is the same, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's
as we learned in One Piece, hats and hair color do not necessarily mean relation
or hairstyle
or name
or
having
name.
the same name.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I did see at least one person say that Hiyori was Bonnie on Twitter.
Are you telling me Rock from the Yeti Cool Brothers and Rocks are not the same person, and that Scotch from the Yeti Cool Brothers and Scotch from Kaido's crew are not the same character? I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Oh, I have
wait until we meet Rockstar's brother, Scotch Star.
Scotch Star always takes the limelight.
That's good.
Oh, I've heard of him.
He's the opposite. Okay, I think that's going to do it for the manga. Any final thoughts? No? Okay, let's go into the next segment.
Mm-hmm.
This is the double anime recap for episodes 855 and 856. I'm your host Sam, and today with me we have, once again, our good friend Ed.
Hi.
And joining us today, we also have our good friend Brian Newton.
Hello.
And joining us today, also, our very special guest. You probably haven't heard him on the One Piece podcast for a very long time, Mr. Zach Logan.
Hi, I'm Zach. YouTube commenters rate me as somewhat annoying.
Aww.
We have YouTube commenters?
And I read them? That's the big mistake here.
Yeah, that was your mistake.
I prefer Twitter, where all of the advice is, reviews are glowing all the time.
Once you mute all the bad ones.
That's a good idea, actually.
Our first episode on our list is 855, the end of the deadly battle. Katakuri's awakening in anger. You
What a
always
misleading
know,
toy title there.
You always know
they
something
have
fun's
the
going to
faith.
happen when it's the end of the battle.
They don't even have faith in the first part of the title.
I
Like,
was
the end of Deadly Battle.
I was
Katakuri's awakening.
marathoning Yu Yu Hakusho today, and during I'm in the middle of the Sensui fight. They're like, "Is this the end of the?" It's the same exact thing, and there's 10 more episodes to go of this, and the toy just doesn't change. Is my point.
I'm like
You
40
just gotta keep
episodes in.
on the line.
I'm almost 40 episodes into Dragon Ball Z now, and I think if you're describing watching Yu Yu Hakusho, I'm like, man, if I was watching Yu Yu Hakusho, I'd be a third done by now.
It's a really well-paced show. There's some pacing issue, but anyway, we're talking about One Piece, which I actually watched this time.
I'll probably breeze through this first episode here because I watched it last week. And those are my notes are from last week, so I don't remember everything. So there's just a lot of Luffy and Katakuri fighting. We get to see Luffy's Grizzly Corkscrew Magnum. And Luffy's trying to figure out why he cannot hit Katakuri with his armament hockey.
I didn't remember
normally-
the Grizzly Corkscrew cannon, but I immediately thought that is a very verbose name for an attack for Luffy, especially.
I don't think it's in the manga.
Okay, yeah,
You don't think so?
Yeah,
No.
it didn't seem familiar to me at all. I should check, but go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, he's thinking about, so if Katakuri were a Logia type, he should be able to hit him with armament hockey, but for some reason that is not working. I remember there's this cool scene here where it's a very a Western moment where they're kind of circling each other around and locking eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this kind of big. They're almost like wrestling where Luffy is trying to hit him with a bazooka, eagle bazooka, and then Katakuri is using his mochi to wrap around him, and then Luffy, while he's pinned to the ground, his legs come up from behind Katakuri and grab the trident with his feet, so he holds the trident from stabbing himself.
And I'd mentioned in other earlier episodes that I didn't feel like this fight was interesting yet because they weren't really sort of going all out, or it didn't feel like they were taking the fight seriously. It felt more serious this week, in this episode in particular, I thought, because they were starting to have serious tactical battle.
Yeah.
I thought it definitely came to a head more in the next one, but we'll get there.
What I'm saying was it was really bad 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah, so this kind of transitions us into now Katakuri is starting to morph the physical world around him into mochi, and it's oh, of course, my powers are awakened, and so we get a little flashback sequence where Luffy remembers what Doflamingo is doing with his strings, because it's an awakened devil fruit power, so he can turn the physical world into their fruit, basically. And Luffy is gearing up Gear 4, and that's how the eye catch of the episode comes. We come to a scene on the shore of Whole Cake Island, and Peckham's is crying. He's sad about Pedro because, brother in arms and all that. Count Niwatori is sympathizing with him. He's I understand how that must feel to lose a friend. And Montour is excuse me? This man was our enemy. But Niwatori, he's basically kind of making the argument in Luffy's favor here, where he's well, if you look at everything that the Straw Hats have accomplished, maybe we shouldn't be underestimating him so much.
Famous last words. Doflamingo said the same thing in Dressrosa, that he wouldn't be underestimating the Straw Hats, and he underestimated the Straw Hats. So maybe people should listen to Count Niwatori. He seems to be the most competent person in the family.
Well, we know Count Niwatori is never going to underestimate anyone because they succeed in defeating the Straw Hats eventually, right?
Yeah, and he uses this metaphor about a champion boxer is, an arrogant champion is the most likely to get knocked down. Then it was Charlotte Custard in the manga, the 6th daughter of Charlotte, and
She
she's
has
chasing
I should.
She has a portrait, so yes.
Uh,
I think she was mentioned, but we don't see this chase. This is totally filler.
Yeah, so she's chasing the fire tanks out at sea, and then there's like a brief mention of the territory slugs.
I mean, I think there's a conversation that happens, but I don't think you actually see them. Yeah, you don't.
Mhm.
Go ahead. Yeah.
And so then that brings us to we finally come back to Germa 66. I think for the first time in a few episodes. They're having it out there. This is kind of one of the ways in which, because I thought the Germa fights were pretty well animated so far, but it's basically just been the same fight like since they started fighting the Big Mom Pirates at their own base.
They had like one too many of these, I thought.
Yeah, well, because the problem is that they spend all this time showing us these one-on-one fights between the Vince Smokes and the Big Mom Pirates, and then once it actually has to get to the actual canon material, it has to like skip way ahead to Germa having defeated everybody.
Right. After one of them did a Destructo disc.
Basically. So they're bringing into the Big Mom Pirates, and so Niji seems to have some sort of technology that allows him to copy Nestor's voice by like, grabbing his throat, and he's like standing on this huge mountain of bodies, and he's calling into the Big Mom Pirates using it's Zoro's voice actor is the voice actor for Nestor. So it's Niji who sounds like Zoro pretending to be another guy calling into the Big Mom Pirates.
It's goofy. This is goofy. This whole fight is goofy.
So you're telling me Niji was playing a dude, playing another dude, who was pretending to be another dude?
Yeah. It's crazy. So they're basically feeding into the Big Mom Pirates' sort of confidence. They're like, okay, all right, we got Germa down. We've got their lab is safe and sound in their hours, except it's all a lie. Germa is totally in control. And they get the news that the Straw Hats are heading due west. And so ETG is like, okay, let's move out. We come back to the Katakuri fight, and Katakuri is using his mochi to trap Luffy down. He doesn't want to let Luffy use his Gear 4 because he could see into the future. He's like, oh, Gear 4, that's interesting. And then he stops it, and he's like, yup. It's sort of that people have been passing that one around, like, Katakuri doing the thing that no shonen villain has ever done before, even though I'm pretty sure that's been lampshaded before.
Yeah. I do like the bit of him when he's trapped in the mochi, Luffy's trapped in the mochi, and he starts punching him, but it's just like the mochi is punching him. It's growing out of the mochi. It's not even like his limbs anymore.
So Katakuri is 40 minutes late for his daily merienda, and so he uses his awakening powers to create this giant big mochi cake that he stacks on top of Luffy. It's like this big swirly thing with a little fruit thing on the top. And basically he's going to trap Luffy under there, and he's just going to let him suffocate to death. And he walks away feeling accomplished, and that's the end of the episode.
It's very Dr. Evil. I'm just going to leave him under this mochi and assume everything goes to plan.
So next episode is 856, The Forbidden Secret, Katakuri's Merienda. The title card begins at 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So Katakuri's chefs have arrived with its donuts. They've been kind of waiting around the corner this whole time, I guess. They've got this big cart with all these giant donuts. That's what Katakuri likes. And they're offering him tea, but because the fight went on so long, the tea has gone cold. And so Katakuri, I like how Katakuri is being kind of a big brother to even like to the chefs. He's like, don't worry, iced tea is fine.
I'm just hungry.
I actually disagree. I don't think he's being a big brother there. I think he's those are his servants, and he's not being a complete asshole.
Yeah. I feel like that's just Katakuri's tone a lot of the time. Like he's not here to be an evil asshole.
No, he appreciates the donuts, which I guess we'll get to in a moment, but
he
that's
really
what it is. He
appreciates
really appreciates those donuts.
Donuts.
And so the chefs are going through this whole spiel about how perfect the donuts are. We've got cacao from this black market and milk pasteurized on a sky island.
Why does that matter?
Cream from I don't know.
I appreciate
it's still cow milk. It's regular old cow milk.
But it's sky cow milk. It's like fluffier and lighter, and it floats.
He's clearly a donut hipster.
Yeah. You seen these things? They're ridiculous.
There you go.
Cream, cream from his brother Opera. That's exciting.
God, that sounds so wrong.
And the celestial dragon's favorite sugar gets brought up. So it's they're donuts for kings, basically. I like this.
Level 9. God, that was such a stupid line.
I love this effect of the chefs are like super small on the screen, and Katakuri is really giant with his arms crossed, like he's super intimidating.
Yeah, that's a great shot.
It really kind of like drives home the subservience of the chefs and like how much they just want to appease him.
Oh, I forgot about this. They have the thing, the logos, sort of like old clip art GIFs, just sort of like two images that just alternate back and forth on the screen like that. For when they're showing up the ingredients, and like there's a chibi Opera who's on the screen because they get the cream. It was like, and he's just sort of going back and forth like an old piece of clip art.
Yeah, and there's a lot of big Japanese text behind Katakuri, stylized text, I guess, which I guess is just like the recipes for the donuts. And so with
Babish.
Yeah, Katakuri is famished. He's like, okay, I've used up a lot of my hockey, but thankfully sugar is the source of power. So he builds himself this mochi shrine. He does a bunch of funny hand gestures, and he builds a mochi shrine. He
takes a long time. It's very well animated building that mochi shrine.
It's also an ornate mochi shrine.
He takes a very long time, like walking himself into the shrine. He kind of disappears into the blackness, and then the door somehow closes itself. There's a lot of a visual take of this episode is there's a lot of like split screen effects. Like there's like the screen will divide
like
itself.
Like manga.
People talking. Yeah. And so we first see that here as the chefs they're basically talking about how, the usual stuff, how perfect Katakuri is, and then, how he needs to have his snack every day and needs to be in private. And as they're talking, they notice that the giant mochi cake behind them is moving. And they're like, what? Why would that happen? And then, boom, big fat Luffy pops out of the top. And there's this joke about how at first it seems like he can sense Katakuri in the shrine through his color of observation hockey, and the chefs are impressed. But then they realize that Luffy is just smelling the donuts, which he probably wouldn't even have to do that much to figure out where Katakuri is if he just looks around.
Yeah, I mean, unless he left the mirror world, but
right. And so, instead of going right for it, he's like, okay, I got to go take care of all these extra pounds. And so he runs off, and the chefs are just sort of laughing at him like, oh, what a coward. But then he comes back skinny, having taken a dump. And he's like, all right, I'm energized now.
I don't think was that what that was supposed to be?
No,
I'm still hashtag team dump.
No, he definitely ran it off. That's what the joke is. That's the joke is that human bodies don't work that way, because obviously human bodies get thinner when they poop a lot. I mean, that's not so out of the realm of possibility. Hashtag team running. What did we say? It was team dump and team
metabolism.
That is a terrible. We need to come up with a better hashtag, our team.
So he just comes in, he elephant guns the shrine to pieces. We hear Katakuri enjoying his donuts.
I like how this was done.
Pleasurable, but then we don't get to see the follow through on that scene quite yet. We come back to Sanji and Pudding. Sanji is complimenting Chiffon on her cake, and Pudding is very jealous. Now, this is the first episode where Pudding's actress is being replaced because her actress is having a baby, I guess. Yeah, and I noticed it, but like I didn't think much of it. And then someone on Twitter pointed it out, and I was like, oh, her current voice right now is Hoko Kuwashima, who the biggest role I found of hers was like Medusa in Soul Eater.
Okay.
And then you also get a scene of Oven arriving on Cacao Island by ship. So that should go somewhere. Then we come back.
Not much of a Sanji segment this week.
Yeah. We come back, and then we get the whole Katakuri eating his donuts scene. Big Mom's the instrumental version of Big Mom's big musical number at the beginning of the arc. And Katakuri he's got his big maw. He's chomping away at these donuts, and he's enjoying himself. Donuts, delicious to the whole.
Oh, donuts.
No, he actually said it pretty well. I didn't think it was very Englishy. I'm like, did a pretty good job saying the word donuts.
No, it's about as good as Joseph Joestar.
No, I thought it was better.
You definitely hear his voice actor. You hear the comedy actor in him.
Yes, yeah. Which I'm glad. I mean, he's good at being a badass too, but I mean, come on, nice to hear the comedy.
And kind of leaning into that sort of, Luffy's just kind of walking in on Katakuri during his special me time. He's talking about he's referring to donuts as a forbidden pleasure, a sense of guilt.
I want a donut.
And as the song is like reaching its climax, we hear Brulee's voice repeating that legend about him never laying on his back and all that, and juxtaposed with him clearly laying on his back. So that like really stupid legend is not even true. Which I think is just super funny.
The best part about this is how Luffy doesn't even care about any of it.
Yeah,
and Katakuri doesn't even notice until like he opens his eyes, like he doesn't hear the thing being destroyed around him.
Yeah, he's really embarrassed.
He's into it.
So he quickly turns around. He's like, okay, I can't just stand here with my mouth agape. I've got to put my scarf back up. I've got to take action. He's super angry. He doesn't want anyone to see his face, and so he starts taking it out on the chefs first. He stabs one, then he's got his like edged mochi, like really angular arms, and he takes out the other two. And so that kind of leads us into the rest of the episode, which is a crazy animated section of the Luffy versus Katakuri fight. The soundtrack is like some real like Trans-Siberian Orchestra stuff.
I really like the animation in the bit. Like right when he starts, like he projects his aura like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. It looks like it's like maybe the last 5 minutes of the episode are just like really awesomely animated. Like there's so much impact and intensity to everything that's going on. I like my favorite was there's like this vignette where the background is normal, but Luffy and Katakuri are purely silhouettes, and Katakuri is just kicking shit out of him.
Yeah, which you rarely see in One Piece, and you rarely see in anime in general, which is always nice.
Yeah, so Luffy seems to be putting two and two to get. First Luffy gets a good kick in. Gets a good upper kick on Katakuri's jaw, and so he's starting to put two and two together about how Katakuri's observation hockey works, how his immunity to the armament hockey works.
And I like the pain Luffy is in when he blocks his attacks.
Yeah, his hands like burn up from like the friction or whatever. So he powers up to Gear 4. He has an opening to do so this time, so he's readying up a big Kong gun attack, and he launches Katakuri away, and that's our to be continued mark. Any general thoughts on the episode, you guys? Or on these both episodes?
Yeah, I mean, I think the anime, I've taken a little bit of a hiatus. I need to catch up with everything, but there was a lot of really cool direction in the second episode, especially with the kind of boxes, I don't know how to describe it, and like the split screens, and there was some cool stuff that I enjoyed. I think they made, this fight, I think it's a good fight overall, but it does last a long time, and I expect it to feel like it lasts way longer in the anime. So I think considering they really, as Ed said, I felt like these two episodes did a good job at reminding you of the stakes, and also in this case the donuts.
This is the first really good episode since the Pedro episode.
Agreed.
I would say first really good episode since the first episode where Luffy and Katakuri are in the mirror world.
Yeah, Yeah, I didn't care for that one much either.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was okay, but this one is because like I felt like most of the fights are not really getting the kind of like tactile version of how these two combatants go against each other. And I felt like that last bit in this most recent episode definitely nails it, because even how when Luffy and Katakuri are going blow to blow, and Luffy would like roll, and even just those little details about how he's like catching himself with his hands, but that's also causing him pain, and he has to like blow on them, which isn't in that part's not in the manga, but it's referencing things that happened in manga. I thought was very well done, and the fact that they keep most of the fight on the ground, and you know how I feel about when they have the characters flying through the air.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. It's just a way to extend the animation. I'm not a big fan of, but I'll just quickly go over. I thought the previous episode's a decent episode, just not extraordinary. But this most recent episode was a great episode where the beginning is just all set up for the final conclusion of the last 5 minutes, which just go turbo. And those 3 pastry chefs bits was really funny in the anime, and I had more fun with them in the anime than I did in the manga. So kudos to the animation team.
Zach?
I said my piece. I think my one piece, I'm sorry. I'm going to see myself.
Is it Ed's turn?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I popped up during the recap, but yeah, 2 weeks ago I did not enjoy the anime, I think, at all, because Luffy and Katakuri didn't seem like he was even trying in that episode, and maybe that's a problem with the source material, but felt like it was drawn out. And these 2 episodes, in particular this week's episode, really sort of showed where this fight could go, and it's got to go someplace, because you can't just stay in one place forever, even if this is One Piece.
Yeah, I thought that the much more aggressive, like tactile fighting towards the end here, it comes with a turn in the story. It comes with Katakuri now having a more emotional investment in getting the job done, because he doesn't want this like news of his mouth to spread or whatever. So I think that's good. I think that the problem with the 2 episodes before this one are that just it just kind of like the whole idea is that Katakuri is just sort of punking Luffy throughout this whole fight, but you don't need to spend that much time getting that point across. So that's kind of the main issue. But yeah, I thought this newest episode was really great. It's great in that it's packed with a lot of great like comedy. It's good story development, and the action at the end is amazing.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's move into the next segment then, Sam.
Yes, let's do that.
It's time for Toki Toki Panic. I mean, Super Mario USA.
It's the piece together segment. That is a joke one other person listening will get. So
that's not true.
At Weeb Simpsons on Twitter. Go.
Yeah, go to it. So let's start with Ed.
This piece.
Yeah, and we've been having, I know some people have been having trouble still getting their disc piece qualifications. My Discord knowledge is lacking, so I need to put someone in charge of that who's more qualified than I am. But we'll figure that out. And apologies for those having issues with it. But let's get to this week's disc piece. We have a lot. First one comes from Morgul, who said we accidentally skipped this. I apologize. It might have come out after we recorded. I'm not sure. I don't know if you guys have heard yet, but Funimation has revived their old One Piece 101 series of YouTube videos. They've done new videos for Robin and Frankie, and presumably one for Brooke and possibly even Jinbei will be uploaded soon. The videos are really well put together and even have some as yet undubbed footage in them. So with Frankie's post-time skip wanted poster and a shot of Robin at Zoe. Anyway, the last time Funimation did these 101 videos, it was the lead up to the dub season 4. Do you think that they might be doing these new videos in preparation for season 10, which many fans have been anxiously awaiting? Also, when they do eventually get to season 10, who do you want to play Caesar? Casey. Until he started having serious health problems, my money was on Chris Ayres. Is he doing better, by the way? I thought I heard he was starting to
I
better.
don't think he's doing great, but he will go in to do Frieza when he can.
Yeah.
And he still sounds great.
He does. He's a great Frieza, yeah.
I don't know if I ever saw Chris Ayres as Caesar. Now, Chris Ayres' understudy as Frieza, Damon Mills, is kind of he's the one I'm guessing is going to be it.
I mean, I don't know. I would peg
Casey.
the guy who does Django. He's really good
Casey.
and has that kind of voice.
Casey.
Yeah. Aside from Casey,
Yeah,
assuming.
Yeah. And yeah, it might be in preparation. I assume there's just a lot of background stuff going on with negotiations. This kind of stuff happens every so often, so I wouldn't be.
Yeah,
surprised.
it's not. I was looking into this about the DVD sets, and the break between season 3 and 4 was a year and a half between sets. It's been 5 months now, which I think is one of the longer breaks between seasons.
Yeah.
But I mean, it hasn't been that long yet.
And we'll continue to reach out to Funimation and try and get comment. And if we hear, we will let you know.
It's encouraging that they're doing the One Piece 101 still, and they do tweet about the
and they have the One Piece
Festival.
Cafe. Yeah, Funimation definitely still obviously has a lot in stake. I mean, think about how much of a physical release it has gotten to this point, and how many episodes have been dubbed. They're way past. They're almost at 600 or past 600. I forget.
I don't think they're
300.
past 600.
They're past 600. So
No, I don't think they are.
Oh, they're definitely past 500. 500 was the
Yeah.
time skip, right? Yeah.
I think they're in the late-ish 500s.
Yeah, that makes sense. Next one comes from Abdul, who said, another amazing addition to the story of Wano. Oda's storytelling still gets me after all this time. I'm loving the setup, build-up, the characters, the story, and even the impending heartbreak we're in for when the remaining details surrounding Odin and the Shogun that the Straw Hats reacted to are told down the road. This is already shaping up to be one of my favorite arcs. Can't wait to hear everyone's thoughts on this chapter. Thank you and keep up the great work. So we could probably move straight on to Grim Pyro here, who says, great chapter this week, and the latest episode blew me away. Hopefully the quality of the animation stays through the fight, and we don't get a dip in quality like the Luffy versus Lucci fight.
Unfortunately, that's not how that works.
Anywho, if Toki...
There'll be a few dips, but it'll go back up.
Yeah, I think the way the anime works is when it's important, it looks good, and when it's not, it doesn't. Right? That's a pretty good...
Roughly.
Anywho, if Toki's from the distant past, then is it possible that she's from before or during the Void Century? Also, if you guys could travel forward through time, how far would you go? That's a good question.
At least 2 years.
Yeah.
25 months.
I was give or take 800.
I was a little disappointed that we got this very clean, rationale for how that all worked, because I really wanted to talk last week. If I would have been on, I wanted to talk about one of my favorite movies, a little film I like to call Encino Man. That they just got frozen and then excavated at a pool party or something. And yeah, you should watch that movie. It's a real bad movie.
It's Pauly Shore, right?
Yeah, Pauly Shore, Brendan Fraser, and Sean Astin.
Oh, is that where the Futurama joke comes from? Where Pauly Shore goes into the future, goes into the Futurama future?
Is he wheezing the juice in it? Because that's what he does in that movie.
I think he might.
All right.
They made Biodome references.
That one too. Yeah.
Any other amount of years that you guys want to go into the future, even though Ed's answer is the correct answer?
Ugh, I don't know. After all this, international scientist announcements, I don't think I want to go in the future at all.
Can you only go like once? Or can you,
I mean, I think according to this question, yeah, you would be asking the person with the fruit to take you into the future. Right?
I wish I could just like do a bunch of like tiny ones. Like I want to skip work right now, or
yeah, so you don't have to actually waste your life doing those things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do this now, but toward the end of my life, just go into the super distant future just to see where things actually go. I mean, I have like
when you're dying and be like, I wonder what it's going to be like in like
exactly
1,000 years.
You just end up
like,
Yeah.
I wonder how One Piece ends.
So
And then you just end
I
up in a
wish.
human zoo like the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
exactly. And so if you're listening to episode 540 of the One Piece podcast in the year 7024, please transport me at some point in my life to your year and let me know how it's going. Next question comes from Straw Hat Pirate 9, who says, such a great chapter. Like everyone else has said, I'm excited to hopefully hear the full story that Luffy and the others have heard about Lord Odin. I also really want to know more about Lady Toki. It makes me so sad that Momo apparently had a little sister like Law did, and she seems to also be dead. Oda, why? I can get the whole moms are the end of adventures, but little sisters aren't part of that equation, are they? But this may just be me as a girl being sad, mad at always having so many ladies die in flashbacks. To Oda's credit, the amount of dead loved ones in flashbacks based on gender is at the moment evened out. Can't say the same for Disney, though. Also, she goes on to say, just read Roger Base's theory, I believe, on Twitter. He believes that Hiyori and another of Odin's retainers were sent into the future only 16 years, so maybe Tama is Hiyori. So, okay, we're not that original there. I want to believe in this, so hoping it's true. I subscribe to that theory.
We talked about it a little bit on the Manga recap.
Yeah. Any other opinions? If that's a no, we could move on to emails, which we got a ton of. Big one. Okay. First one comes from Martin. This seems like a relatively straightforward one. Who said, what is the chain of command for the Straw Hats, including Jinbei and Carrot, for the sake of argument, and also because Sam's here? I added that last part, but, so.
Hey, guys.
that came suddenly. It's like pops out of nowhere. I mean, obviously Luffy and Zoro. Who would come next in that chain of command? Is it like the?
I mean, if you're on the ship, Nami, really.
Is it the order they joined?
No, it depends on the situation, really. Like,
yeah, they don't really have a clean chain of command.
I would say if Jinbei's on the ship, he's pretty high up since he's the helmsman, and that's a pretty important.
And he's strong and he's smart.
He's everything you want in someone leading you. Which is why the Sun Pirates have been doing okay. Not the best, actually. Carrot would be
Some
the lowest,
only
unfortunately, I have to say, for you, Sam. But I think it's pretty
She's
clear.
the captain in my heart.
She's the the lookout, it seems. I guess that was Pedro before, but I think
lookout is good.
Yeah. Anything else? No. Okay, Andy Yoho, friend of the show, says, with the upcoming One Piece movie on the horizon, I was wondering, does One Piece need another quote-unquote revival a la Strong World? I don't know the status of the series across the world, but it is necessary to reach out to a new is it necessary to reach out to a new generation of fans? What are your thoughts? Stay awesome. Yeah, go for it.
I don't know if I'm not sure, it's still so early in the press cycle that we don't really have much of an idea what the kind of expectations are behind the scenes for this new movie, or what it's going to be about. If this is going to be, okay, here we're making another one. This is the fourth in the, post Oda involvement, series of movies, or if it's something different. I definitely got the sense, and maybe this is just me reading into it, but I definitely got the sense that Film Gold was kind of like they were trying to extrapolate like that Strong World to Zed to Film Gold, like make each one exponentially bigger. And I feel like, at least monetarily, it was probably a bit of a flop for them in that sense. Like, they were they were really going all out with all the, the production and like the 4D mad, crazy theater stuff that they were doing in Japan. And I can't imagine that was also like when did it come out? It was like 2 weeks after Pokemon Go came out, and that was just taking over the world. And it was just like, oh, and then the One Piece movie is out. And And so I feel like that was definitely kind of a sign, like, okay, this is not necessarily the automatic event that that certainly Strong World was able to become. So I understand like maybe the temptation to go back to the drawing board, but it's obviously too early to tell how they are reacting to the last movie and its performance, I should say.
Yeah. I don't think we'll know, and I think Oda's involvement is definitely important, the level of that, but I don't know how much I want Oda to be so involved.
Right. Especially now when we're in such a
important
like
time,
an important time. I don't know if it's more important than the Paramount War, but it's certainly like it's an exciting time in the manga for sure.
Sam,
I'm bracing myself for them to be trying to make the live action show like the new step up like Strong World was in terms of like reaching
I agree.
A more international audience this time.
Sure.
Yeah. And if it does well, if it's well put together, I think that has more potential than anything to really bring a new generation of fans and a much more diverse generation of fans. Next one comes from Kevin from Toronto, Canada, who says, with the timeline of the attack in Wano being set at 2 weeks, what do you think are the chances that Oda does go back to the Reverie, seeing as the timeline was set to be 7 days?
100%. Well,
Yeah,
I don't know.
so.
I guess unless you're saying whether it's shown like an entire chapter in the Reverie versus like somehow the news getting out.
Yeah.
But I mean, absolutely, like the results of the Reverie are going to factor into it, I think.
You think are going to factor into the stuff at the at Kaido's Island?
Well, I don't know about maybe Kaido's Island, but I mean, it's going to be part of the story. Like we are going to find out what the ramifications of that will be, and if it involves like say the Navy sending admirals after Luffy for some reason or another, I would not be surprised if that is an element of the end of Wano.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking this is one of the fun weeks for you, Steven. This is
because I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, you don't know.
Yeah.
I'm keeping an open mind that we are actually going to see the Reverie. Like that'll be our chance to we'll change scenes. We'll go to the Reverie, and then that'll be a good chance to come back 2 weeks later or something.
See, I would like that, but I'm super pessimistic about that. I don't personally think that's going to happen.
I would say I would be with you, Zach, except that Sabo is there, and I feel like that's enough of a thing where whatever he's doing, Oda will want to draw that. Maybe.
I mean, it could even
that's
be.
My hunch.
No, I don't think it would be the next cover story. I don't think he would do that.
So, I don't know. Like, what would be more impactful for the story if they were to go back to the Reverie midway through Wano, or come back out of Wano and have just like I don't know, the fan is literally covered in shit and it's broken. Like,
that's so much backwards storytelling.
Yeah, that's why I don't like that as much. But
just the ending of Whole Cake Island and the ending of what we saw of the Reverie, like there's just so much blue balling going around. Like you want some of these things to actually be like pushing the story forward rather than just like leaving us hanging all the time.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next question from friend and very good supporter of the show, Joe, who was asking about those with perks over $50 on Patreon and how those are going to be fulfilled. So for those who don't know, first off, please subscribe to us on Patreon. You help make the podcast bigger, better, and support us you help us exist. For those who are wondering, those over $50 get to take place in the trivia segment. And those for $100 or more get to appear on an entire episode, and you get to choose who's on the episode and so forth. So, I'm probably going to start contacting people, but this is as good a time as any to tell you some not as great news for you guys out there, but I'm going to be gone for just about the entire month of November into a little bit of December. So a lot of the reward stuff, it depends who you guys, as patrons want on, but if you want me on, and if it depends if Ed, Steve, or Alex, or whoever's taking over in that particular week, or Sam, is up for it. So we'd have to, figure that out, and we have not yet had that discussion here or with the specific patrons. So you'll hear back soon about that, but it might be a little longer than I would normally like. But in the future, hopefully it would just be a few weeks just to get all the planning together for that specific person. For those curious, though, you can join us on Patreon now. So I think that's going to do it on emails. We had a lot. On to Reddit, Stephen.
All right. So I was pruning through the Reddit questions, and I did remove the ones that I think we already probably discussed during the manga recap. So let's just bang these out. We'll start with The Hobbit, who says, knowing that Oda is a Terminator fan, is Momonosuke John Connor, Kinemon Sarah Connor, and Toki Kyle Reese? Will we have a future chapter called Judgment Day? Will Frankie ride a lobster cycle with Momo to escape from Kaido in dragon form? The more I think about it, the more I want it.
He has a T2
Momo
thing, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Is Sarah Connor?
No, John Connor.
John Connor. Wait, Momo's John Connor?
Yeah, because he's the kid.
Who is Sarah?
Kinemon, obviously. God.
Quote unquote.
Oh, and then Odin's wife is.
Yeah.
I guess we'll know for sure if they're escaping like in a dry riverbed and then Kaido crashes through a bridge as a dragon. That's when we'll know that it's definitely Terminator.
It's cute that you refer to that thing in Los Angeles as a river.
It's well, what do they call it? Is the culvert? Is that the?
I don't know. It looks like a drainage ditch to me.
They call it. Isn't it called the Los Angeles River or something?
I thought that was a joke.
No,
Next
it's always empty, but yeah.
Terminator was not shot in Los Angeles.
Super Trooper 92 says, I was thinking about prospective battles recently, and the one that excites me the most is a Brook versus Apu matchup. We saw Brook rock out with his Soul King powers in Whole Cake Island, but I want to see or hear how his power stacks up against the Music Man himself. I think it would also be a very funny battle with these quirky guys. What are your thoughts on this? And any non-Zoro or Luffy battle predictions?
Well, I love
Apu
that.
is here.
And he's here, yeah. Or probably on Onigushima?
Onigushima?
Onigashima.
Onegashimasu.
Yeah, that's how I should remember that.
There you go. It's hard to say because we've only seen a couple of like the real low-level chumps on Kaido's forces so far.
Need to see more of the big boys.
Yeah. The other calamities.
I hope that we get like proper fight matchups. Like everybody gets a fight.
Yeah, we haven't.
It's
been a while.
I think.
Except for Luffy and Katakuri, yeah.
I would like to see like, I don't know, Frankie versus or maybe Chopper versus Drake, like just big beast version.
We haven't seen like we haven't even seen like Alabasta type team with tag team kind of things like Usopp and Chopper in a little while. So I mean that would be cool too. Just I mean they're calamities. I don't think it. I would think any less of any of the Straw Hats if they have to team up. But
great if Robin could get a fight.
It's also the first time we've had all the Straw Hats kind of in one place since
minus one.
Well,
they're not all there right now.
I mean they're all in Wano.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that Zoro is going to get an absolutely bonkers fight.
Oh yeah,
he's
got to.
Yeah,
At least one.
Yeah, at least one.
Like he's
already had one. Yeah,
land of
he's
the
off to go like get his own fight right now. Like he's gonna be off fighting bad guys while everyone else is like, what are we going to do?
We're gonna have these awesome action chapters going on.
The Zoro fight.
Like, I've already cleared 3 Muso levels.
Like a Zoro versus Okiku fight makes sense to me in like a more dramatic version of like Luffy versus Jinbei on Fishman Island. Like for some reason they're in each other's way.
Yeah, there's something going on with them.
Yeah,
they're weird.
This one is weird.
Yeah, this one. Chi Sora says, some friends and I have been doing themed movie marathons about once a month for a while now, and one of the themes that's on the horizon is anime movies. None of them are huge anime fans, and none of them read or watch One Piece, but I would like to sneak in a One Piece movie or special to show them the light, but only if there is one that is actually good. I've seen some of the movies years ago, but I don't really remember them too well. So, is there such a thing as an actually good One Piece movie? One that shows the series.
There sure is.
One that shows the
There's-
series' strengths really well. One that not only fans would really
All
enjoy.
right, let's go one at a time here.
Okay.
Alex.
As far as quality goes, it's obviously Baron Matsuri. Like that's the clear answer. But when it comes to trying to get somebody into One Piece, I don't know if I'd recommend that one because it's very different. So I would probably say Strong World.
Yeah, it's between those two.
Sam, yeah.
I mean, like if you have access to it, I would lean towards Baron Omatsuri, just because I feel like that would blend in with other anime movies really well.
Yeah, Funimation has to get on releasing that. Maddie.
Yeah, I'm going to agree because I've also shown like some of my friends who are into One Piece that movie before, and they really liked it. So, I guess, and what Alex said, it depends on if you're trying to get them into One Piece or if you just want them to enjoy a movie. But I think that one it's like self-contained enough, and you don't really need to know that much about the background, and it's just a really cool, weird movie. And I mean, Mamoru Hosoda is just amazing. So, yeah, I agree. Baron Matsuri.
I would. Oh yeah. What do you have one, Zach?
No, go for it.
I would actually say I'm going to buck the trend. I'm going to say Film Gold is probably the best one to show off here because I think compared to one that shows the series strengths really well, in particular, like if you're looking for like, okay, what is an actually good movie that is also very representative, you could argue whether or not Baron Matsuri works in that sense, but I think that Film Gold is very solid. It's not as cheesy as like the other pre-Oda movies, and I feel like it's much more cohesive both kind of thematically and aesthetically than Strong World, which was kind of previously, a lot of people would say that just because it was Oda's direct supervision. But I felt like Film Gold was a very, very entertaining and well done. Like it felt like it was a compressed, arc from the manga all wrapped up in one movie. So I thought that was a pretty straightforward choice.
I'll just add to Steven. I wasn't going to say Gold, but having seen in a packed theater One Piece Film Gold with I'm assume some non-fans and just hearing the reaction from the crowd there, and I think Steven definitely has a very good point. Ed, do you have?
Yeah, either Gold or Strong World. I don't think Baron Matsuri is such a. It can get dark. I don't know what kind of films your friends like, but I don't think it's representative of One Piece.
Can I also buck the trend? I'd say Film Z. Film Z is my favorite One Piece movie, so I am biased.
So Film Z is also mine, but I feel like it helps a lot if you already have a working knowledge of One Piece before watching
I was
it.
gonna say the same thing.
Like Film Z, I think is a movie that makes. This is kind of how I pitch it. It's a series that makes One Piece as a whole better. But I don't know if I would introduce it to somebody who. So
this is the reason why I would think it would still work to introduce with Film Z. I think it's a story about Zed, and I think the Straw Hats are important, but I think they're more in the periphery than any of the other movies. To that point where you could kind of enjoy a character piece about him. So I agree with everyone else. I think Baron Matsuri stands on its own very well, but is not super representative of the series. I think Film Gold is super representative of the series and stands well on its own, but has some issues. The music is the best of all those movies by a long shot, in my opinion. I
would say movie 2 is the best soundtrack, but that's also bias.
Re-listen to that, but Strong World, I think, is super representative of all the positive and negative things about One Piece. So yeah, that's it. I'm good. Steven.
Okay. Mistress Page says, I was wondering if anyone amongst the OPP crew has watched the DBZ Abridged series by Team 4-Star. I highly recommend it. Additionally, if a full-fledged One Piece Abridged series was done in the same vein, would you give it a watch?
So
yes
I've seen a good chunk of it.
I've seen all of it.
I remember when Team 4-Star first started. I think I watched like the first couple of years, and then they ended up getting thrown off of YouTube a bunch of times, and I lost track of it, and I didn't go back and finish it.
I did watch the latest, the last 3 episodes, the Gohan versus Perfect Cell, because, mostly because I recently watched Gohan versus Perfect Cell, like on the Dragon Box sets, and that's like 30 episodes, and they condensed that into like 3. So,
and they did a really good job with it, I thought.
Yeah, they did an excellent job. I think I saw some sort of BuzzFeed article, or not BuzzFeed, but some other article that was linked around Twitter saying that it's the best Dragon Ball dub, which I wouldn't call it. It's not a dub. Sorry.
I don't think they would call it that either.
No, they're pretty vehemently against it, and people are like, no, but it is, but it's not.
And then legally speaking, that's a very different. They'd be in very different territory.
Yeah, so I think it'd be interesting to watch One Piece like that, but I don't think I'd be super into it, to be honest. That's not really why I watch One Piece.
And One Piece doesn't take itself seriously. We've talked about this before. Yeah.
One Piece is not parody as easily as some other series.
Yeah. I would be interested in seeing instead like a One Piece version. I don't even know if this would work, but I would be interested to see someone try doing a One Piece version of like the Mega 64 like sweeted versions of the DBZ arcs, where they like super ultra low budget, like really cheesy. Guys. Yeah.
KBS.
Well, we're not all in the same city, unfortunately.
Yeah. What's next?
All right. Pepsi Shake says, could the time travel devil fruit be related to why the poneglyphs were created in Zo? Well, it wasn't in Zo. It was the Kozuki clan that were
in Wano, probably.
Yeah, in Wano. We didn't touch on that note specifically, but I think for the time travel, for Toki's power specifically to have played a part in that, she would have had to like know the knowledge from like the Void Century, let's say, and then gone into the future and taught it to the Kozuki clan, because they were like, they were described as being the keepers of the process or whatever.
And then marry this person's descendant who she taught.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it does lend some credence to the idea that the Void Century and Toki are in some way related.
Sure. Yeah.
I feel like this may skip a couple steps, this question or this theory. Not to say it's wrong, but to say that I don't think we've seen the things that connect that yet.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to learn that there's like a restriction on the time travel where only like living people can move through it and not objects.
The restriction is it's only forward. And she chose her final destination, so that makes me think that there's a certain amount of jumps you could take, and she's done the last one.
I just took that to mean like, okay, she met Odin and they had kids, so it's sort of like, well, what is she just gonna like zip forward and like, see ya kids, and then go another 50 years forward in the future?
Well, she could also have moved herself, by that logic, she could have moved herself 20 years forward or a little more than that, because she sent her kids forward, maybe both of them, and Odin is dead. So what purpose would she have had to stay there if she could get out of there?
Yeah, I think it was like, she met Odin, and that was like, this is it. This is where I want to end my life with this guy.
But didn't she say that after Odin had been executed?
Right. Yeah. That's when the bad guys were closing in, and then she sent them forward. But like what I'm saying is that she stopped zooming forward once she met, on her way through time, when she met Odin. That was when she decided, like, okay, I think this is the life that I actually want to lead.
I'm just saying, by that logic, it's possible, not proven, obviously, that she may have traveled again after that, since Odin had been killed.
It would be sloppy storytelling with the way it was presented, I think, for sure. But yes, it's not 100% confirmed.
Yeah.
All right. Lord Nemo 593 says, why are there so many devil fruits in Wano? Kinemon, Kanjuro, Lady Toki, Otama's mochi fruit. Devil fruits are presumably rare to get, so how come a closed nation has so many? Well, this is kind of one of those like don't ask kind of questions, because it's clearly just like story. When the story calls for someone to have this or that devil fruit, like Oda will give it to them. And we've never, I think, aside from what
Kaido was already there at that
Buggy
point.
and-
Like,
yeah.
And they grow anywhere in the world. It's like when someone dies, they just pop up somewhere.
Aside,
Yeah,
aside,
Well, no,
Oda
actually,
more or
that's not
less just
true.
stopped coming up with devil fruit origin stories
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, like, aside-
Buggy.
Well,
right,
Smiley.
aside from Luffy and Buggy and like Kaku and Khalifa and a few characters like that, he's never like had an origin story for why they got a power or not.
and Doflamingos, actually. I remember reading that just recently.
Ugh.
Where Treble sets the gun and the fruit in front of him.
right.
Here, choose one. Just kidding. Have both.
You're a king. That's how it works.
You're the chip. God, I fucking sorry, guys. Preview for the second
preview.
part of Just Rosa.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy. All right. Brave Sabo wants to know, is Rogers Base welcome on the podcast now that he reviews and reacts to the Viz official release? It's pretty sad when you kicked him out. Keep it up, OPP. Well,
I mean, it's,
yeah, that's maybe an uncharitable representation.
Yeah,
of-
we
of,
talked with him about it.
Mhm.
It wasn't like, get the hell out of here.
I mean, it was, frankly, it was causing political problems for us.
Yeah, that's true.
They-
So, I mean, I would say, of course he's welcome back. And we said that, I think, on our Twitter account.
Oh, we did. Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah. Back when he, I guess it's a few weeks ago now, that when he switched to the official release.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, there was a lot of stuff behind the scenes, where we were kind of reassessing. Okay, where do we want to stand on this or that? And I think we all have felt like he was, that he was always very pro Viz releases. He always spoke highly of them. Clearly enjoyed being on the podcast with us. So I think we're all pretty happy that that he changed his schedule for.
Yeah. No, we're thrilled about that. I mean, we're all legitimately happy and proud of him that he did that. And I hope it is going well, and I hope everyone who does listen to him supports his move to Mondays, because he, just for being brave enough to make that move, I think that's something that should be said, because I know that is not always where the trend is, and I'm glad he's bucking it and trying to help move other people in that direction.
Yeah. All right. Rainer Not a Fox says, since we've been reassured by that Jinbei will reunite with the rest of his crewmates, the Straw Hats in Wano, in regards to the timing, do you think the reunion will occur before or during or after the confrontation with Kaido?
I sure hope so. I mean, I feel like now would be a good time to get the whole crew together, right?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, that's when he explicitly states, like, now is the time for us to gather our
5,000 people, yeah.
God, I would hope so.
8,000 people, right? Who's up?
Yeah. Oh, Usopp will lead them.
Yeah. All right, almost done here. CJ the Elf says there seem to be a lot of theories out there on who Lady Hiyori is, assuming she didn't get sent to the future or die and is now 20 years older. My favorite theory I've seen is that she is actually Tashigi now, since Tashigi is 23 and Hiyori seems to be about 3-ish years old in the flashback, and her love of swords could stem from her Wano heritage and would be a good excuse to tie her into the story. But knowing Oda, Hiyori could be anybody. Who do you think she could be? Nami, Queen, actually Crocodile after he was gender bent? Thanks, and keep up the great work.
I don't know. I think we sort of went through with. We think it's Hitetsu and Tama probably.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Tama.
I just
now.
realized if Tama gets sent further, if she got sent earlier, I guess, if she were his Momonosuke's younger sister, she would then become his older sister. Is that how that works?
Right.
Potentially.
How old is she now again? I forget.
I don't,
We don't
know
know.
if it's been
Just
said.
younger than
She looked like a toddler in the...
She just turned 8,
silhouette.
right? It was her 8th birthday.
Tama.
Oh, yeah,
Tama,
it was her
sorry,
birthday. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wanted to bring that up because of the Tashigi mention. I guess that must be a theory that's going around, although I don't think any of us really none of us really bit on that idea. I don't think there's a whole lot of evidence otherwise to suggest. Maybe it's just the fact that she has a one of those Japanese bird names that people are like, oh, she has a Japanese name. But I that would be a little, that'd be a little bit of a stretch for me. Last one on Reddit that I will read is from Serpentscape. I really wanted to read this comment. In a recent episode, you were talking about the ending of One Piece and what it would mean to all of you, and I got so emotional while listening that I got teary, which normally would be fine, except for the fact that I was on my way to a job interview at the time, meaning I walked in looking like a mess. If I don't get this job, I'm blaming you.
Oh man, I don't know.
Give us the number for this job.
Cried on the way to the job interview before, but not for good reasons.
Yeah, I've cried on my way from job interview.
Yeah, that was a really good. I remember when we started talking about. I think that was 2 weeks ago. I think it was with Alex and Steve. I remember that.
Yeah.
And it was a very long. Like we talked about it. That was probably like 15 or 20 minutes that we spent talking about one question on Reddit. But I was just letting it go because we were really getting some good thoughts in about that. So thank you for.
We wish you the best of luck. Yeah.
Yeah. And they did have an actual question or a comment. What's the likelihood that Zoro gets on a boat, winds up on Onigashima completely by accident, and ruins things? It seems in character.
99%.
No, he can find his way. He could get on a boat. He can't find his way to unless the boat's
it would
already
be accidentally. Accidentally. Yeah. Completely accidental. I'd very high
destroy the boat before it got there, probably. Sink.
On that topic, I did. I wanted to add when they were having the scene where Kinemon is explaining everything. It was sort of like the elaboration of the first Wano chapter when we saw all the other Straw Hats getting the speech about not blowing their cover. And he's like, okay, so don't let anyone find out we're here. And Luffy's like, okay, got it. And there was such of like a Chris Pratt in Parks and Rec thing where they're like giving him directions. Like Leslie Knope is telling him like, go into the drawer, go into the left drawer, second, into the back, get the file out. And he's like, yep, okay, definitely got it. And he has no idea what she's talking about. That was definitely Luffy's reaction. He was like, okay, don't cause a fuss. Got it.
Yeah. I forgot about that moment, but yeah, that's.
Yeah.
So that's it for Reddit, right?
That's it for Reddit.
All right. So good luck for your job interview, and Ed, it's time to.
Peace the tweet.
Yeah, it's our final questions as we get into Piece the Tweet. Ed, what do we got this week?
All right, I'm not gonna as Steven did, I'm gonna sort of go over the
preen these. Yeah,
pretty much. First one comes from Yintab, who says, "Have a feeling that Wano will be the Water 7 Enies lobby of the new world, with the first half taking place in Wano, where the Straw Hats will fight the Shogun, then the second half will take place on Onigashima, where they will fight Kaido."
I think Onigashima is in Wano. It's the Wano Kingdom, and so I think it's safe to say it's an archipelago like Japan.
Whole Cake Island?
And Whole Cake Island. Japan and Whole Cake Island.
I don't know. I feel like they're going to try and be sneaky for 2 weeks. Like, you don't want to you don't want to fight the Shogun before you raid Onigashima. I think it's the other way around.
Is Curry an island then? Is that what we should be getting?
Sounds like it.
Or is it more like
it was a region. They refer to it as a region.
So it's like a prefecture in Japan?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how like traditionally Japan, like especially in the Warring States period, and like it, it has such mountainous terrain on the interior that you had all these little separate kingdoms of lords with their own territory, and that's why that each area has its own customs and unique dishes and so on, and so that's definitely, I think, echoes of that with the way that he's been treating Kuri versus the flower capital, the Kyoto or Edo or whatever you want to call it.
What's next?
Next one comes from friend of the show, Joe. It's a question directly aimed at Sam here. Cat Viper and Dogstorm look like children in their mini flashback, and that was only 20 years ago. What if minks age like actual animals? If that's the case, Carrot might not have much time left.
I don't think that was 20 years ago, first off. I think that that flashback was when he first met Odin, which is probably 20 plus, an additional 20.
Yeah, that was
Who knows? Yeah.
Because they also rode with Roger.
I did want to bring up that Dogstorm and Cat Viper's origin is this is good. This is a fun comparison. It's basically identical to Yami's in Black Clover. I noticed, and it has the same kind of like racial theme to it too. Like people don't like the outsiders, but then there's this one guy who does. And if anybody is up on Black Clover.
All right, next one comes from Nick Fridge, and I'm reading this only to say that I haven't actually seen too many comments like this online, but maybe I just walled myself off from it. But he says, so time travel in One Piece, huh? Gotta say it's impressive that it took Oda 20 years to run out of ideas. Up until last week, I was thoroughly enjoying every chapter of Wano, but this latest twist took all the wind out of those sails. And I have to be, I'm honestly surprised that I haven't seen more comments like that. Like,
yeah, I am too.
But I haven't. But I did want to read that one because they do exist.
I'll say time travel episodes are my favorite Star Trek episodes for the most part. I think there's a lot of.
Oh, you must love Voyager then.
I've been rewatching it. It's better than I've been rewatching it. It's better than I remembered because I did not remember it well. But it's got its problems. There's a lot of TNG has a lot of that too, or not like time travel, but time like messing with time.
Dilation.
There's a very good TNG episode where they like break time.
They do like a Lightspeed thing where people like come back years after they leave.
No, it's like there's like
poker episode.
The what?
Where they start off playing poker or whatever,
yeah.
And Crusher's like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And Frasier's at the end of it.
Yeah, I think so.
It's the one Kelsey where Grammer.
It's the one where he puts his. Oh no, that one's a good one too. And then there's a bunch. Yeah,
it's like a season 5 episode. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was going to say I had a hunch that he was going to very much limit the scope of the time travel concept, which is definitely seems true, and I feel like he's probably done as good a job, at least based on this one chapter, at minimizing the impact of it while still having it be something that is very poignant and central to this particular story arc. Maybe it will seem dumber in retrospect once we've seen all of Wano, but it's still early going. But I trust that he's not going to get too messy with it.
What's next, Ed?
Next one comes from Ghost Starch. It says, could part of the reason why Jack was sure that Raizo was in Zou be that he and the other Calamities did not find human remains in the ashes of Odin Castle 20 years ago?
I did not interpret it that way.
Well, I mean, like, knowing that they would go to Zou, but they already knew about probably the Dog Storm and Cat Viper. That's probably why.
Yeah. I just assumed that was all him, just basically saying, yeah, you can't hide him. We know he's here. Like, either you show us where he is, or you die. And he didn't particularly care if he wasn't there. If he wasn't there, he was just going to kill them anyways.
All right. Yoo-Hoo Dude has the next question. Now that the Straw Hat Fleet cover stories are done for now, which was your favorite? My vote goes to Sai.
Or Lumbus.
I have to remember.
Yeah, I don't even remember all the ones.
Or Ptolomeo with the fake swag.
Oh, I would like that.
Yeah, that was so long ago.
Yeah, I like where that ended up.
Yeah, definitely.
The jokes for Lumbus when they hit were very good.
Yeah,
I will say that.
I feel like that was like all of it was all of the I just remember
it was 3 weeks of setup for one joke.
Yeah, the Tentata one was basically Prelude to Reverie.
Right.
The Cavendish one was neat. It was basically his past.
Okay.
I liked that one. I like the ones that had lore. The Cavendish one and Bartolomeo is interesting.
Don't bring Brent Spiner into this.
What?
Because he plays data and lore. Anyway.
Oh God.
We're just talking about Star Trek. I know my one Star Trek.
A lineup.
What's next?
Okay, next one comes from Itoro, who says, do you think Moria will appear in this arc and help the Straw Hats take down Kaido? You can see Luffy beating Kaido if he takes all the shadows of all the people in Wano, or he just takes some Supernova shadows. What do you think?
Just kind of a character too many for me right now.
Agreed.
Yeah. Which is too bad. He has business with Kaido, and he somehow got the corpse of Ryuma from Wano. So,
right, I would be interested in seeing that pay off, but I don't necessarily want it to be a whole big thing.
And how did he get oars? Because oars comes from Onigashima Island.
Maybe.
Burned.
Yeah. Don't say that like it's fact.
No, I
mean-
actually like it. That's a good connection potentially.
Yeah. All right. Next one comes from Nura G123. Says, "Hey, One Piece podcast. Do you think the One Piece global fandom is growing each year, or it's stable because of new fans joining and old fans dropping?"
I think it always goes in a cycle, goes up and down and up and down and up and down.
I think people who are fans, even if they stop reading or watching, especially if you're in Japan, it's hard to avoid One Piece. So you're still it's kind of part
Don't
of you.
even try.
I feel like if you look at it on a scale of like, I don't know, like 5 years, I'd say that the general popularity of One Piece is significantly larger over here than it used to be.
Yeah.
So I think it is always going up gradually.
The real fandom was the friends we made along the way.
All right. So a couple people wrote in to note what the similarities between this and Samurai Jack, as we pointed out last year.
Yeah.
And Scandoza says, at some point, Usopp will team up with Tama and shoot her dango into the mouths of Kaido's army of smile users, giving her control over his army. Usopp will somehow get the credit for overthrowing Kaido's army, and God Usopp's legend will soar to new heights. That's a very God Usopp thing to happen.
I
like it.
That's how it has to end.
Yep.
And while we were doing this, because this came in an hour ago, someone had the silhouette thing from Post Denny's Lobby that I talked about.
That
as well.
might have been at the same time you were talking about it.
Glug-Luraptor. Great minds,
Maybe that's you, Ed, and we just didn't realize.
All right, next one. This is the last question. Comes from One Piece Fanboy 5, who says, "I knew the time fruit had to come into play, but surprised that we hit to see it so soon. Could Momonosuke's mom or sister have the fruit?"
I think the mom has it, and we've determined that.
Had it. Seems to be dead now, but where is it? That's a good question.
That's actually a good point. Yeah. It depends if Momonosuke's mom is still alive.
And so if Tama indeed ends up being Momonosuke's sister, then she already has one, so it wouldn't be her.
All right, that's going to do it. Okay, Alex, go ahead.
I wanted to, can devil fruit users eat a smile fruit since it's artificial?
Well, this would be the arc to address that, huh?
Yeah. Just decide to pose that to us in the audience.
It's a guy with a regular devil fruit and a lion in his stomach. Okay. That's going to do it. Why don't we round off?
Let's do that.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 540 for October 8th, 2018. Greg, you're back with us. How could the good people out there find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Ochimusha108. That's OCIH.
Nope.
Wait, I messed that up. Nope. OCHIMUSHA108 at Ochimusha108. That's probably the best way to find me these days.
And there was the YouTube video of you recently with the figure stuff.
Right. Yeah, the documentary of the Luffy figure that we designed will be out October 18th. That's been put up on YouTube. I believe it's on the Bampresto website. You can find some links there on the official One Piece Twitter account as well. Those will be coming out over the next few days. There's a total of 4 of them. I think I'm in 1, 3, and 4. So yeah, look forward to those coming up.
All right, enjoy 3/4 of those videos. And also, I heard that the figure was at New York Comic Con, so that's really cool.
Yeah, did they say that was going to be like $30 or something like that? That can't be right. That's too cheap.
Yeah, that's
SRP.
That's the MSRP. So I don't think they actually sell it. I think that's to like retailers, to the people who purchase them from game centers. So one Luffy is the equivalent of $30, I guess maybe 3,000 yen. So they purchased it for that, and then
gotcha.
You have to win it. So yeah. But apparently, I'm sorry for listeners.
No.
There are places online that are selling it, and some people on my Twitter account on Twitter have been very vocal about where you can find it. I don't know if I'll find one right offhand, but some people have been like, "Yeah, I ordered it through this, or I ordered it through that. I found it here or there." So yeah, there are ways to order it if you're outside Japan.
Yeah,
Oh,
cool.
Big Bad Toy Store. Big Bad Toy Store. There you go.
Oh, I know them.
And for those who have, who haven't heard Greg's voice in a while, besides last week and this week, I suggest people listen to the One Piece podcast episode Greg's Bizarre Adventure. We'll make that available again at some point. We re-release it every so often. Just kind of explaining the amazing journey Greg has taken to be where he is as part of kind of, this tangentially official, member of the One Piece crew working on the official One Piece website and V-Jump and merchandise and all this kind of stuff. So
merchandising.
That's where the money is. So Sam, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Lucky Chainsaw. They can find me on the One Piece podcast every week doing the anime recaps. And they can find me on AnimeNewsNetwork.com doing the daily streaming reviews for One Piece, Black Clover, and as we were recording this episode, it looks like I am locked in for another Shonen Jump anime property starting this season. So,
can I ask?
It's the one.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And also we have Maddie. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Oh That's Raspberry. I post lots and lots of One Piece drawings. You can also find me on Patreon, patreon.com/Oh That's Raspberry, where for $5 you get a postcard every month.
I thought you said for $4 or $5, but it makes more sense to say for $5.
Or yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that works. And Steven, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus for various sundry tidbits and posting about my cat. Although I'm getting better at it because I didn't even tweet today complaining about how I had to clean the entire bathroom because he peed all over it. So
no. I mean, you're doing it now, which is I mean, I think more people listen to this than probably would have seen that. I hope. Anyway, we also, of course, have Alex on, and you and Joey have a podcast of your own as well.
Yeah, we do. It's called Tohoyaro. It's a Japanese film club podcast. Our latest episode went up last week. We cover Godzilla vs. Monster Zero with Grant, at Grant the Thief on Twitter. You guys might know him from his amazing colossal One Piece read through that he's doing. No, don't spoil him, please.
It's a chapter a day he's doing right now, right?
Yes.
Well, he does catch up days sometimes. He doesn't do it every day.
Yeah. And he has his very own Japanese film podcast called Blade Licking Thieves. So check that out as well. And of course, you can always follow me on Twitter at dude! All one word. It's the same on Instagram, and I'm doing Inktober this month. They've been a little half-assed so far, but there's bound to be a really good one of these days. So
cool, thanks. And Ed, where could the good people out there contact us?
Well, you are Zach_Logan on Twitter. I'm Edward E. One Piece. The podcast can be found at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast, Patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast to support us. Reddit.com/r/OnePiecePodcast is our subreddit. Please go there. You can ask us some piece together. Subscribe on SoundCloud, subscribe on Google Play, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, or call us on our phone number, Zach.
Ed, that phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again. We have like 8 people here, and only Ed did that. Our phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
Okay, I'll take it. With your questions, your comments, your theories, or to get some Rap and Rizo videos. So, you guys stuck around, so we have to give you a treat, and we still have Greg here, the literal master of One Piece trivia. So,
no shit.
He's going to go up against our One Piece masters of trivia here. Of course, that being Ed, Maddie, Sam, Alex, and Steven.
Wait.
Yeah,
Maddie,
no. You have to play.
I thought I was excluded from trivia.
You usually are, but you're on the show, so therefore you have to be part of trivia. That's
boy.
Oh, no.
And it's what
Throw in the
Greg's
towel,
on.
Maddie. Throw in the towel.
No, this shouldn't be, at least to start with, one of the harder ones we've done. I had a super hard one prepared last week when Greg was on, but Greg left, so it didn't happen. So Greg, and for others who don't know or don't listen to this part all the time, this is how the game works. You have to just name characters within a category. If you name a character that is not in that category, if you can't think of a character in that category, or if you name that something that has already been named, you're out. You get a certain amount of time, which seems to be arbitrary. And whoever lasts the longest wins a taiyaki cookie the next time I see them. That is the prize for the Wano arc. So the order will be the same as the manga recap, which unfortunately means that Maddie will be starting, followed by Sam, Alex, Joey's not in, so Steven and Greg. Yes, being first is the easiest. And we have a lot of people this time. So all you have to do this time is name a named character. And this is One Piece Wiki we are relying on. So we know it might not be exactly.
Name a named character. I think I can do that.
No, name a named character who has a natural Zoan fruit. That's all you got to do. Zoan fruit.
Oh, okay, natural. Okay.
I
okay.
guess.
So no
Yeah,
smiles.
I'm getting rid of the artificial, not filler, only canon, to make it easy for
Okay.
everyone who has not seen filler, which are most of us.
Sounds good.
So let's start, Maddie.
And it's just the character's name, not
Just the
fruit's
character's name. Yeah, I'm not making you say the fruit's name. Should be
Okay,
easy. Yeah.
Kaku.
Yes. Sam.
Mr. Rob Lucci.
Yes, you don't have to say the title, but that's fine. Alex.
Well, let's see. I believe that Jabra has a all-natural fruit, no concentrate.
Also the name of my headphone brand, yes. Steven.
Chopper.
Yeah, good one. Human fruit. Greg.
Lasso.
He named the best one. I'll just say that right now. The best one has been.
Fuck yeah.
Maddie.
Drake.
Hey,
Wait. Oh, Ed. Sorry.
come on.
Yeah.
Drake. No. Dalton. I go with Dalton.
Yeah. I'll let Maddie. You could do yours.
Okay, yeah. Drake.
So we'll keep going. Sam.
Funkfried.
Good one too. Those are my favorite. So we're done, right? Alex.
Miss Merry Christmas.
Yep. Steven.
Oh boy.
We're getting to the more fun ones.
Yeah. I can't remember what people have said now.
That's one of the challenges of the game.
Yes, one of the challenges. Oh boy. Oh god.
3 seconds.
Yeah. No, I can't do it. I'm
None?
distracted. Sorry.
What are you doing? Is your cat peeing on something?
Yeah, no, they're talking.
Sorry.
in the background.
Greg.
Pell.
Yes. So at the end of that round, only Steven is out. Maddie. Dead air is people's favorite. No, I'm sorry. That's fine.
I mean, I can just
Say
groan
anyone.
while I think.
Say a
I
character.
can't think of it.
Any character.
I can't think of anyone.
Oh, okay. Sam.
Chaka.
Yep. Joey.
Joey.
I'm sorry. Alex.
Pierre.
Steven.
Ooh.
Oh, not Steven. Craig.
Sandersonia.
Ed, did I forget about you last round?
Yeah, I come after.
Ed, name two.
No. I did do last round.
Oh, you did
didn't
do
I?
last round? Okay.
I've done one.
Oh, you should have done two, so you have to
Okay,
name two.
Marigold.
And one more? Because I
What?
missed
Oh,
your last
now?
one. Yeah, do it now.
That's not fucking fair, man.
Okay, if you could think of an artificial one, I'll let you stay in, okay?
Look, everything's made up and the points don't matter.
Exactly. That's
The guy I can't think of.
name any.
No. Yeah, I'll just make one up. Oh, Sengoku. The Sengoku has one.
Yep. Good one. Good one there. Okay, so Ed's still in. So we still have Sam, Alex, and Greg and Ed. So Sam,
Marco.
Greg. I mean, this is Alex. Sorry. I could do this.
So confusing.
I could do this, Alex.
Let me see. How about Jack.
Yep. Greg.
Arcs. Smiley.
Perfect.
Ooh.
Good one. Ed.
Oh boy. Dellinger?
You know what? That's not here, but he did. That was a zone.
Well, he's
for-
half. He's half.
Oh, was he
fishman.
half fish?
Yeah.
Oh, it was half fishman. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're right.
No,
You're
never
right.
mind then.
Thank you for catching me on that, Sam. So the Ed is out that round. So remaining Sam, Alex, and Greg. Sam. I'll give a hint if.
Oh man, I think I just thought of one.
Yeah.
Shit.
Man, I've got like a whole bunch in my pocket right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm running dry. Uh,
Yeah.
I'll give
Crap.
you 3 seconds here, Sam.
yeah, I don't know if I've got anything.
Okay. Alex.
Minotaurus.
Yep. Greg.
What was the little fucker's name?
Gonna have to be more specific.
And you talking about?
It's the name of like a fucking squash or something. Kabu.
Yep. Good pull. Sam. Oh no, Sam's out.
Oh, I'm
Sorry.
out.
Yeah. It's just Alex and Greg. Alex.
Onigumo.
Greg.
Is that confirmed?
Oof. One Piece Wiki. Is that enough of a?
I mean, it looks like. I mean, it doesn't look like Shadow. It looked like actual spider legs coming out of his back there, though. I don't know if you ever got it.
I'm gonna take it. I am. I'm gonna take it. One Piece Wiki says it. I think it's been all but confirmed. I think. I mean, I could check the source here. If you like.
I don't know if he's had one. I'm not gonna be that guy, but I'll take it. But I don't think that's been confirmed.
I mean, he definitely had the spider abdomen on his back there. Maddie, did you want to add to that? Did you want to add to that?
Well, no, it's just like, yeah, it's unconfirmed.
I'm looking right now, yeah.
He's very spidery.
He is, but people have also made the argument: what if that's his hair and it's he's using Seimei gum, the same thing?
I guess that's the one where it looks like he has like a big like spider butt going on.
Yeah, I'm looking
in, like
at
one panel.
I'm looking at a picture and he does have the spider butt.
I mean, I can give you another one.
No.
Okay.
If we'll go there, then that actually gave me my next one.
Okay, go ahead, Greg.
Dalmatian.
Yeah, it also killed a lot of time.
Yeah,
that's fine though. Alex.
All right, let me see if I can get this right. Mino rhinoceros?
Yes. Greg.
Well, if we're doing all the Minos, then we got to do a Mino Chihuahua.
Yeah. Good pull. Right. Alex.
Mino zebra.
Greg.
Have we done a Mino koala yet?
We have not done a Mino koala. Not related to koala. We have 3 characters left.
I know at least one of them. But,
so Alex gets first dibs here. One of them is insanely difficult. The other 2, less so.
All right.
But still difficult.
Let me see here.
What is the partner of one that was already said?
Hey.
No, I know. I don't remember that character's name. No, I know. Let's see.
At the very least, I think Greg could say he held his title here, being one of the last 2.
Let's see here.
No, he's not one of them.
Yeah.
I'm joking. But, yeah. As far as we know.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give you 3 seconds here. Okay. Greg, to stay in the game, all you have to do is name one of the 3.
Okay.
Big Punk Hazard, Dressrosa, Zoe. Fuck.
You have to think.
Peckham's.
Yes, there you go.
Wait, is
Yeah.
that confirmed? Is that confirmed? Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
isn't that in?
I think that was
SBS?
confirmed. I think that was in
Okay,
SBS.
All right.
But Beyond was the one I was thinking of.
Beyond, yeah, and the
Beyond.
last one, the impossible one, I never would have gotten. I don't know if this has been confirmed. Is Opoida, the caterpillar man from Whitebeard, yeah, who is a caterpillar person. Apparently, maybe I don't know if I completely trust that Whitebeard.
I mean, it would be in Data Book Green if it was.
The thing is, his ship, it has a caterpillar masthead and a caterpillar skull, which is really cool looking. Jolly Roger. I that was at least in the anime. I don't know if that was in the manga.
Apoida, New World
Apoida.
pilot who allied with Whitebeard. I mean, there's also that one dude has the fucking octopus on his head, but I don't think that's.
I don't think it was necessarily revealed. You know, I don't think that was confirmed, but I think Peckham's was, and Beyond definitely is. So good game. Greg is our winner. Wins his first Taiyaki this week. Congratulations, Greg,
Yay.
holding the mantle.
Wait a minute. That's fucking bullshit.
Because you went against Greg.
Oh, I see. Never mind. I'm looking at the panel a little more clearly. It says Apoida transforming into a caterpillar, and I'm like, it's just him on all fours. You don't see any other legs, but his front legs do look a little fucking wacky.
Yeah, and there's
So.
some more pictures of that.
Okay.
It's One Piece wiki, so slight grain of salt there since it's.
And I hope it's a caterpillar fruit. That's actually super funny.
Yeah, that's a cool fruit, I think. And does he turn into a butterfly at some point in his life? Like after the 2-year time skip, do we see him as a butterfly?
I fucking hope so.
I hope so, yeah. Okay, so that's going to do it for this week's episode of the One Piece Podcast. We'll be back next week with our Volume 90 recap, as well as some adventures in Japan, and a lot more. And our Dressrosa recap should be coming next week as well. But until then, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Alex.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
No?
So-
Stephen,
mean
would that be
Zach.
the Toki Toki fruit or the Toki Doki fruit? Sorry.
Toki
Japanese
Toki
humor.
Panic.
Okie dokie.